Wow!
Here today on Sunday the 7th of March 2021. It is 4:37 p.m. and you are watching Coins live on twitch.tv/Andy Barr Comedy. Welcome. It is wonderful to have you with us. If you are with us, if you're not with us, of course, then that's a moot point, really, isn't it? I'm, of course, joined by my good friend and coin expert, Mr. Sam Nicoresti. Welcome, Sam.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Andy. Nice to see you. What are you drinking?
Well, at present, I'm having a small can of Coca-Cola, a sort of an American drink which is famed for its red packaging and its famous font. Very stylized font there. Very
famous font. I got to say, quite a big can, not a small one.
Well, it's tall and slim. So if you see so I think your usual can of Coca-Cola would have 330 mils of the sweet nectar in it, but this one only has 250 mils and is thus sort of marketed as perhaps a diet option. I'm not really sure.
Yes, because that's a trick you can pull in the pub. I saw on...
Go forth.
Oh, I can't remember the name of the show, but it's the show where they trick people in Vegas, and it's it's like, here they are, the world's famous tricksters, and they'll go to Vegas and they'll say, my name's Danny DeLong, and I went to prison for being a trickster. What's the name? Scam artist.
I don't know. Is that not? That sounds a lot like a very bad film which I've watched.
Ocean's 11, it's like one of those.
No, called Now You See Me. Have you seen that?
Is that Catch Me If You Can?
No, it's called like Now You See Me.
What happens and who is in it?
Jesse Eisenberg is in it. Woody Harrelson is in it. Mark Ruffalo is in it.
Oh, yes, I know that one.
There's a sequel which is equally, if not more, bad.
Now You've Seen Me.
No, it's called Now You See Me Too.
Oh, okay. I missed a trick there, didn't they?
Yeah, no, I'm very sorry for that.
Well, anyway, the point is, on this show, they do tricks, and one of the tricks you can do if you want to get a free pint in Vegas is you go over, wear something flamboyant, and you walk over to a group of whatever, mix of people you like, and you say, hey, will you buy me a drink or give me some money or something like that if I can prove that a pint is it's fatter than it is tall?
Yep.
And they'll be like, what? Oh my god, what? No way. And you get them to agree to it, and then basically you get a piece of string, you run that string around the circumference of the top of the glass, you unfurl it, it is bigger than the glass, my friend.
Yes.
Which just goes to show that girth in a is bigger than height, and that's the scam. That's the scam element.
That sounds like a big, very effective scam. Sure.
Well, I've done it before with. I do it all the time.
Yeah.
In pubs.
Do you? How often?
Never for money, just for the joy.
For the cachet. This guy really knows his pint.
Cachet, not the cash.
Yeah.
That's me.
Just doing a little promotional tweet to try and drive up some engagement with the stream.
I'm engaged.
I know you're engaged, and I mean that is pretty much the least that I expect of you. To be quite frank. Phil Jarvis wonders in the chat if you've ever slagged off the price of a pint.
What do you mean? Like behind its back?
I don't know. I suspect that Phil is perhaps loath to clarify. Maybe the potential interpretations of his question are oh no, he means to the barman. Have you ever slagged it off to the barman? So perhaps you've been quoted the price and you say, how much? Or something like that.
Yeah.
Have you ever done that?
I see what you mean. Not to memory. The memory isn't immediately there.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like, if because the thing is, because I didn't come to London for many years, and spent most of my formative drinking years in Sheffield, where the price of pints and the quality is, I would say, optimal.
Yeah.
I don't think you can get a finer equilibrium of quality to cash point. So I kind of knew coming to London that it would be ludicrous.
You had been prepped.
And then when I got here, and to be honest, like I've never really been out in London. Like I don't move in those sorts of social circles that would go to a big London Leicester Square bar. Should we do a round?
Yeah.
Oh, can I have a fucking lager with the little tap? You know where they pull the little tap down.
Or a Blue Moon.
A Blue Moon. Do you know what? Yeah, I have got bitten by the snake of a Blue Moon before. I was not
you're
aware
looking
that.
at like £6 min.
Oh, min. I would expect £8 or £9.
Ooh. Well,
with that, when they put the orange in,
yeah,
you're paying for the orange.
Yeah. It is.
But it's ludicrous.
It is absolutely ludicrous. Just discovered a penny in with
the pounds
coin collection. That is going on the floor where it belongs.
What
are your thoughts on
the
penny?
In for a penny, in for a pound.
Would you care to break
They're
that down?
equivalent. Yeah, if I've got a penny, I might as well get a pound.
Yeah. Completely right.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone would argue with that.
They often do.
Do they?
Yeah. Well,
that shoots my supposition out of the water, sinks it.
You try that at the bank.
Yeah, I won't. I've been warned off it now. Phil Jarvis says, but they put a fruit on the side, referring to the orange in the Blue Moon.
Sometimes they don't, though.
Posits that you pay for the atmosphere, so the atmosphere that accompanies the Blue Moon is enough to bump the price up by a couple of pounds.
It comes with its own like bubble.
Yeah.
Of atmosphere, does it?
Yeah.
I suppose having a Blue Moon does create a general whiff, doesn't it? And people are drawn to the magnetism of somebody holding a Blue Moon with that bright orange wedge rammed on the rim.
You say, what? You right? So you're at the bar, or perhaps you're slightly back from the bar. There is somebody at the bar, and they've got a Blue Moon. What judgments about that person's character are you making from the off, without you haven't even heard them? They're not speaking particularly loudly. You perhaps can't see their face. They might turn the other way, but you can see that they have a pint of Blue Moon. It's got the orange in there. It's in the branded glass. What are you thinking?
Honestly, and I say this with confidence because this is always what I think. First thought is, I bet they didn't know how much that cost.
Yeah. So do you think that they're something of a rube when you see...
A rube? Yeah. That's when I get my bit of string out.
He's just got off the train.
Yeah, that's when I saunter over. I bet you that Blue Moon is not as tall as it is thick.
Yeah.
Is what I say. But actually, I think with the Blue Moon glass might be with the limit where that theory starts to fall down, because it's quite tall, isn't it?
It is pretty tall, yeah.
But that's the thing with the trick. That's when you say, if I said that to you, you would put money on that, wouldn't you? You'd think this guy's fucked up. He's coming here thinking that I've got a pint glass. He's not prepared for how tall this baby goes.
I think it depends on how much money I have at the time. See, if I'm in a situation with them where I want to be in the bar for a little while, and it's the kind of place that does Blue Moon, I don't know whether I'm necessarily going to go staking any money on this sort of pint proposition. Also, I would ask questions mentally to myself about the kind of guy who goes around pubs making bold, or perhaps seemingly bold, claims, and then offering to, stake money on their veracity. I think this guy probably has something up his sleeve.
Up his sleeve. He knows something I don't. This was the bit in the scam show I didn't really get. I think you have to do it in a special... You have to come over and you don't mention money for at least 5 minutes.
Right, okay.
I forgot how to do that bit.
Yeah.
So I just go straight in. Because the thing is, yes, any guy, but we're talking about me here.
Yeah.
I think if I walked over to you in a bar You'd be interested to know what the boy wizard is selling.
I've got this Duvel. You can't quite make out.
That's beautiful. That's like one of those beautiful Pokemon.
Is it?
Yeah, one of the fucking Venus flytrap ones.
Oh, a Vileplume.
Yeah, it's like a Vileplume.
Yeah, we have some more messages in the chat. Pissing Myself Funny Bear is with us. Afternoon, says Pissing Myself. Afternoon to you, Pissing Myself Funny Bear. Lovely to have you with us. Baldy has just this very second arrived with their usual utterance, Stevenage, ? And yet again, the answer is no. But one of these days. Jill Parvis, Phil Jarvis says, are you overpriced beer, Gestapo? And then says, you notice in London bars that serve Blue Moon, the bar staff are always healthy and attractive.
It's true. Yeah, we do. We kind of live in an age where
I must stop you there briefly. 2 people over the road. One of them has just dropped their shopping. They have Barr's Cherry Aid, which presumably they purchased from the shop just a couple of doors down. They also appear to have an even more sort of purple drink. The Cherry Aid almost rolled into the road, but they managed to stop it in time by sticking a leg out and sort of treading on it to arrest its motion sort of down the sort of slope into the road. So crisis averted there, but they will have to be careful when opening those bottles later because they will be fizzed up. I would imagine that the air pressure inside those is ready to go off. Probably quite tense to the grip.
Any eyes on what the purple drink is?
No, I believe it is another Barr branded drink, so it could be another bottle of Cherry Aid, but I thought that I saw a slight difference in the labelling and the sort of hue of the liquid within, but it could well be more Cherry Aid that was caught at a different angle. Baldy has asked...
2 bottles is too much.
2 bottles. It does seem to be too much. There was some other shopping there, but I wasn't able to ascertain what it was. Baldy
but
has
it's
asked
a smoke screen.
What we are drinking today. Sam, what are you drinking today?
I've got a selection, actually, of beers.
Would you like to present one of them?
Yeah, I can go into one. So I've got 3.
Wonderful.
I'll probably only get through 2, but there's, there's a safety one. And I thought I don't really have any money, so it's all just the cheapest beer from the shop. But I just try to buy ones that I don't usually buy. So we've got on the docket, we've got a
Heine,
the Red Star at Night, Heine's Delight. We've got On Guard,
Holston Pills.
Mr. Holston Pills.
Cheapy, that guy. Very cheapy.
Yeah. And Grolsch.
Herr Grolsch.
Which I had 2 of these the other day, and they were all right. Went down.
They used to be one
of
my sort of canned lagers of choice. I've not bought the Grolsches for a little while. We tend to get. I'll tell you why. When we go to the shop a couple of doors down, you get 4 packs of stuff. Some of them are, kind of held together with one of those little bits of sort of plastic, or in a box, or a sort of plastic wrap. The Grolsches tend to have been taken out of that whatever sort of containment device they were previously in, so it's just a bit harder to take the 4 back. There's 7 of us in the house, so if you're coming back from the shop with cans, you need to make sure that you've got enough for a sort of courtesy couple of cans for whoever else happens to be in. So it's usually in multiples of 4. And if you've got to kind of go up to the till, cradling a number of Grolsches, that just...
You mean they've been popped out of their ring pools?
Yeah.
Is it called ring pool?
No, the ring pool...
Turtle catcher.
Yeah,
you're right.
The turtle/dolphin murder contraption that all cans came packaged in.
Yeah, it's a sort of like climate Rube Goldberg machine.
Yeah. I'll tell you what I'm drinking. Seagull Noose, suggests Phil Jarvis. Also, Baldy notes that you are having a Dutch day.
Oh.
Yeah.
Triple Dutch.
I am drinking Bistrampolio. Which there's a Russian shop near us and they sell lots of interesting looking beers. I think this is possibly Latvian. I'm not entirely sure.
It's a Weiss beer.
It is a Weiss beer, and it's got this this lady on the front in a blue dress holding a beer, and the bits that you can't really see because of the green screen filtering are hops. So she's got some hops there as well. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to start with that. I don't know, because obviously the Weiss beer is quite a pervasive flavour. And I also have now this is a favourite of mine. I've never actually had Wolfers Engelmann Galaxy, but I've had some of his other works. Particularly fond of the fact that it has foil on the top, like a San Pellegrino.
Like a San Pellegrino, yeah. So that's proper lush. That look at that.
The Engelmann.
So
can
we get a ground on like
deodorant can? Sorry.
Yeah, what? Yeah, it looks like Axe. Do you remember that advert they had in the 2000s where the man, he sprays, I think it's Axe on him and he turns into chocolate?
Yes, I do.
And the ladies, they can't get enough of him.
Yeah, I do.
That's a weird advert. I don't think that advert will have aged well.
No, I think it probably has aged quite badly. They've had to try and find ways of updating the sort of Axe and Lynx adverts for a slightly more enlightened generation now. So I imagine that they'll still be trying to convey the same core message of this smell makes you attractive.
Sexual.
Sex, yeah.
Yeah.
A sex.
But they'll be like, but it doesn't matter to whom.
Yeah.
Just matters that sex is still selling.
Yeah.
That looks lovely. I wanted to get much more information about these. I've never heard of these beers before. So when it's not a Galaxy. No. What's the normal? What's a good starter one? Oh, and also, where should I start with mine? Holsten, Heine, or Grolsch?
I would probably leave the Holsten until last and open with the Heine or the Grolsch.
It's Jesus would.
Yeah. So Wolfers Engelmann, it's a Lithuanian brewery from Kaunas, and they have foil on the can. I had them for Christmas a few years ago, and me and my brother became quite obsessed with finding Wolfers Engelmann again, and decided that any shop that sold it, that was a mark of quality and showed that the local area was probably pretty good. I've kind of lost sight of whether it's actually a particularly, tasty or nice beer since then. But I don't think that really matters, does it?
I don't listen. I've been drinking, like maybe 16 years now, and
that's a long time.
I've been drinking like consistently ale for a good like 11, and I couldn't tell you the difference between anything.
No.
That I drink.
I think sometimes
some of
you
it
just get a.
It's fruity.
Yeah. Some beers I think do have sort of situational aspect to their taste. So if you're having, you're having a drink in a nice pub garden with pals, and the sun is shining, you could be drinking some absolute muck, and you'd probably still find it quite nice.
Well, that is generally, especially when you live in London with the beer prices, because you're mostly just getting Ruddles, aren't you, down the bloody Weatherspoons?
Yeah, and that is foul. Actually, that completely disproves my. You're having a pint of Ruddles in a beer garden in the sun with friends, and there is still going to be a sort of note of sadness about what
gives me a migraine. That
it
beer
is
does.
Disgusting. We've got some more comments in the chat. Baldy notes that tinfoil means posh. Jill Parvis, Phil Jarvis says, ever had Lynx African with Marmite shower gel?
Lynx Africa, not Lynx African.
He has said Lynx African.
It's a pretty famous, if not the most famous Lynx, is it? It's the smell of boys' gym locker rooms the country over.
Oh, that's a bit
Taste of the universe, mate.
It's a little sweet.
Mm.
Pissing
That's
myself.
the Milky Way.
Funny Bear believes to have out-fancied us. I think that they're having rosé later. So there you go.
Okay. To me, that's rosé is not class. That's not class. Mm.
Fresh from making an enemy of Baldy. With your Sammy the Tammy chat, you're coming for rosé as well. Speaking of casting aspersions, we've got, as promised last week, a new feature. So, friends, I would like to take you all on a trip to the Hall of Bad Money. We have 3 entrants in the Hall of Bad Money so far, and every week, if you believe that a coin or note has been unfairly inducted into the Hall of Bad Money, you will have the opportunity to argue your case in the chat for its removal, and we will consider the arguments and, with the help of the chat, provide judgment. So Sam has put in the 10 centimos Peruvian coin, the one with the absence of braille, and presumably this has been inducted on account of sort of accessibility issues.
If I remember rightly, it was more to do with the shoddiness of the design, right? There was a lot of, it was off center, there was a lot of empty space above the number. It wasn't well utilized.
Yeah.
The braille thing is confusing, but I don't know if we ever got to the bottom of what was going on.
No, well, I remember that that the 1995 10 centimos coin had braille on it, and the braille had been removed by 2006, which just seems to be a pretty shitty manoeuvre. I'll just pop those on the. Oh no.
Yeah, although I have read convincing arguments that would say that the coin in and of itself does a lot to be accessible to blind people just through its shape,
right? Okay,
being distinct from other coins.
You don't think that the where's coin cam? I thought I pasted.
I don't think braille is like a consistent aspect of like. But then I'm an able-bodied person, so I don't know if I can really have the right judgment on that. But coin fact, the first ever coin to have braille on it was the 1 crown from the Isle of Man, which was minted to commemorate the year of disabled people.
Oh, that's nice. That's good.
I don't know when that year was, but I've just been looking it up, and that's just what the internet says. International Year of Disabled Persons.
No info then.
No info. It does sound like it was just a year.
Okay.
Which is quite strange. Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, 1981.
No.
God.
And that was a crown?
Yeah, they did a 1 crown, special crown.
When was decimalisation?
Isle of Man's got its own thing going on, baby.
Isle of Man. Sorry.
Yeah. They still tip the hat to the Queen, but that's where it ends with them.
Right. So we've got the 10 centimos in the Hall of Bad Money. We also have the $100 bill. I think that is just representative of, as far as I'm concerned, all American currency which has these kind of comedy numbers on them. The sort of, the 100, which looks like it's word art. Any thoughts on that? Can you see? Do you see?
No, I can't see anything. It's incredibly pixelated for me. I don't know why.
Oh, okay. That's a shame. Oh, well.
Which is interesting because you and I and the coin cam are in perfect focus, but the chat and the Hall of Money is completely lost. I can see. I mean, this is how bad it is. I can, even at this resolution, which is like I could count the squares. I can see the Monopoly word art on that
Yeah,
American money, so that's definitely trash.
it's shit, isn't it?
But I do remember if we're looking at the Gibraltar
Yeah.
20 pence, is that what you've got up there? I thought that was quite nice. It had the key design, right? Is that correct?
It does have the key design. I think the feeling in the chat, and my feeling was possibly more relating to the reverse. So if we put that down there.
It's all coming back.
Let me zoom in for you there. Just the sort of camber of the text, not really aligning with the coins. Is it the sort of inner
the Q of
ring
Queen is really where you see
heptagonal.
it, isn't it?
Yeah, and also it looks all right in the picture, but I think when you're confronted that little sort of the 20 bleeding over into the inner into the center of the coin. I don't know. It just looks like shit as far as I'm concerned.
And the inner whatever it is, a heptagon, that looks off center. It looks like they've bunched it up to make room for the 20, and they've not left any bleed margin. They should have left a 3mm bleed around that coin.
They absolutely should have done, and that should be just meat and drink to a coin man. Coin person to the mint. Do that in your sleep.
Yeah. Well, you shouldn't, but
No, you shouldn't. But if called upon, you should be able to.
In a national emergency.
Yeah. Say. Gibraltar.
A CO2 leak.
Yeah, has been hit by an outbreak of sort of narcolepsy. Everyone is asleep, and all of the money has gone missing. But you need more money to pay for stimulants, coffee.
Oh, okay. Yes. Right.
There's one person who's still awake, but he doesn't work at the mint. He doesn't know how the machinery works. And he needs to commune with somebody who does work at the mint in order to...
And who would you cast to play him?
What, the person in the mint or the person who's awake?
This desperado, this last guy standing. Could be a good Bruce Willis vehicle. I don't know if he needs a vehicle at this point in his career, but
I would go for Michael Fassbender.
Oh.
Because I think somebody from Gibraltar has to have almost this sort of sense of kind of being sort of British, but also kind of almost statelessness, kind of transitional somewhere. And obviously he's Irish and German, but I think that he could convey that sort of collision of two states in the middle.
I'm looking at him now. He's a bit too Jude Law for me. He's a bit too tall and clean cut. I wouldn't believe it. I wouldn't believe that this attractive man just happened to be the one man who was, I mean that's the thing with like Bruce Willis in Die Hard. It's easy to forget, but he's a down and out. He's got a bit of a beer gut. And he's having marital problems.
Well, I mean, if this is the Hollywood version of this story, then I think having somebody fairly, you could grubby him up a bit. He'd still be a fairly attractive man, but I don't know. Okay, so Michael Fassbender has been poo-pooed for this particular role. See who else we might be able to have. We're still in the Hall of Bad Money. I think we can probably leave the Hall of Bad Money now.
Catch up.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, so I haven't set the Hall of Bad Money backing track to loop, which I did mean to do. There we go. I don't know whether you'd like it. It's a sort of mournful piano thing with some slow strings on it, but I had to, pop it together in about 10 minutes, so, it's never going to be the best thing since sliced bread, but competing in a rather different market, so I don't think it really matters.
Totally different. Incomparable.
Yeah.
Wow.
Backing to this bit, but If the chat at any point can let me know whether the sort of relative volumes are about right, that would be wonderful. So there's Michael Fassbender. So he's not playing the role of the last man awake in Gibraltar.
Quite right.
Okay. Different idea. Toby
Young.
Yes, Toby Young.
Toby Young.
No, Toby. Who's the good Toby? Toby Jones.
Oh, Toby Jones. Now, okay,
Look.
yes, this is quite good.
And he looks like he's having trouble staying awake as well.
Yeah, it has to be on that. Exactly. Yeah, you'd have to be sort of a little bit dopey, in the same way like you could get Owen Wilson to do it with his lovely dopey drawl.
Casting Americans in this, aren't you?
Well, it's just what they do with movies. Because also as well, like why is he not asleep? It would have to be that like he was, I don't know, coming in at the airport and was detained. Went into the. You know what I mean? There'd have to be a reason for it. So, and Americans, they come into airports all the time.
They do. Maybe, I mean, Toby Jones could have flown in from the mainland, Great Britain.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
It's all.
No, I think you're right to keep it British.
Yeah. We
could get Daniel Craig, James Bond, make it a Bond movie, or could we make it a Christmas movie? That would be my other question. Toby Jones, and it's a Christmas movie.
Would that be the title?
Sleepy Christmas, Gibraltar. Sleepy Christmas, Gibraltar Files.
Yeah.
Or Gibraltar. We have to get the coins in there, don't we? Like.
Yeah.
I've not even really thought about the plot.
No, well, I think
something
the plot is rather wafer thin at the moment. Everyone in Gibraltar is asleep, aside from one man who needs to convince somebody else who is still asleep, who works at the mint, to remain.
Yeah.
Then
he's got to go into their dreams.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got to learn how to communicate subconsciously. This is already a very interesting movie. So maybe he's a theoretical physicist, or his wife, who he's having marital problems with, was doing some experimental dream research in the Gibraltar Dream Laboratories.
Yeah. Who would you cast for his? Can I just pause there to take us over to the chat? Al Jazzers has joined us and says, "Afternoon, Chief and Chief," to which we of course respond, "All right, boss."
Hello, boss. Oh, all right, boss.
Welcome, Al Jazzers. Pissing Myself asks, no, states that if a young Toby Jones was needed at any point, perhaps for a flashback, they would cast Conan Moccasin. So let's. Oh yes, I see what you're saying. I see.
Conan Moccasin would be really good, actually.
What?
And he's got a really lovely. He's very softly spoken.
Yeah. There you go. And what a lovely background for that promotional shot for Conan Moccasin. Obviously, discounting the dead lion, the background is great. Al Jazzers states with some surprise that he is actually already familiar with the Gibraltar 20p. So it does look like Andy Warhol, doesn't it, Ian? It is, of course, Conan Moccasin, who would be playing the young Toby Jones in the Gibraltar 20p piece Everyone is Asleep in Gibraltar film. There would be a flashback, perhaps explaining why Toby Jones is immune to the outbreak of sort of narcolepsy which has taken over Gibraltar. Hello, Ian, by the way. Lovely to have you with us. And fair enough, hello to anyone else who might have joined during one of the digressions that we've had. Obviously, this is still sort of kind of related to coins, so I think that it's okay. Ian has posted a picture, a little emoji type thing, which I think is supposed to symbolise hello, but I cannot make it out sufficiently. Sam, would you like to show us one of your coins whilst I very quickly go to the loo, because I forgot to have a wee before we started and now it is at critical point, possibly due to the Coca-Cola. Would that be okay?
Thin but deadly. Yeah, absolutely. Happy
Marvellous.
to crack the box, get into it. So
super. I will be back momentarily.
Here we are again, the old familiar box that we all have come to, know over the last couple of weeks. Let's open it up and let's dip the hands in. And we've got, what does that one look like to you? Hold on. Where's the cap? There it is. This looks like the girls. Girl Scouts, is it in England? I think, isn't it? Yeah. So this is celebrating 100 years of girl guiding. Girl Guides. Sorry, not Girl Scouts. So that's for Girl Guides. If you remember, if any of you were in the Brownies, it goes... There might be something beneath Brownies. It goes Brownies, Girl Guides, and then WI, I suppose. Were any of you in the Girl Guides at school or the Beavers? I remember the day in primary school where all of my classmates, who I thought were my friends, came in their beaver costume, and I had no idea what was going on. And it turned out they were all in this sort of secret Masonic group that I wasn't a part of, and I'd never heard of it. And I felt very excluded. And then they all went. Well, actually, they didn't. Most of them didn't go on to be in the Scouts, except for Scrov. Scrov went on to become an Eagle Master or whatever it is. So there we go. And just to give you insight into what you can see here, I think it looks like clovers. It is the 3-leaf lucky clover, the luckiest clover there is. And there are 6 clovers around a central totemic clover, and each clover has a little star in the center. So if you were in the Girl Guides, maybe you can tell me what that means. And 100 years, and this is from 2010. So 1910 would have been when the Scouting movement started, which is about right. It was around the time just before the war, where people were starting to think of utopian things to do with their errant feral youths. That was the original, idea behind a lot of the Scouting movements, especially after World War One. The period between World War One and World War Two, you saw the establishment of institutions like the Kibber Kift, which was trying to reconnect young people with radical socialist politics and with a radical reinterpretation of the land. And of course, most of these utopian dreams failed or ended in nudist colonies. So if you're interested in the Kibber Kift, I'm happy to tell you more about it. Very interesting movement. Or, of course, what was it called in Germany? You had the... what became the Hitler Youth? Originally, they were a Scouting movement as well, and there was a radical left and right wing, but it was the right wing that became obviously dominant under Hitler. So, Andy, so we've just been looking at the Girl Guiding coin.
Right. Okay. Yep. That. So what are those? Are those clovers?
Lucky 3-leaf clovers, I think. Yeah.
3-leaf clovers. Girl Guide. 50p. Oh yes. Well, that's a fairly pleasant coin.
It's a nice one. Yeah, it's good. I like it,
obviously they're also having issues there with the sort of how many sides has it got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's heptagonal. Yeah, having difficulty with the heptagonal nature of that coin, or is that?
Oh, yes. Really? It's pretty neat.
It is pretty neat. I think they've done a better job than Gibraltar has done.
Oh well, they pull out all the stops for the Girl Guides, won't they?
50p, yeah, no, absolutely.
I was going to just say as well, actually, something I didn't notice when I was first looking at this. I think it's reminiscent of the maypole.
Yes.
I think you can get that impression, can't you?
Yeah. I think you can get that impression. I'm just going to go back through the comments. I don't know if you were able to see any of the comments whilst you were doing your piece. Okay.
No, I just start talking.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. So, pissing myself says something about rainbows. Rainbows was parallel to beavers.
The rainbows, yeah. Yeah, it was. So is it rainbows to brownies to Girl Guides?
But the rainbows to Girl Guides pipeline. Pissing Myself says yes.
Yes.
Al Jazzers says, Sam, what was the situation with the 2012 Olympic swimming 50p? I always remember hearing it was very rare, but it had to be a certain type or something like that.
Well, this was actually from one of the, if not the first stream that we did, where I spoke about the swimming 50p.
Yeah.
And I have to say, one of the first things that I realised whilst doing that stream, at the start of lockdown, you see, I had, this is the box where I keep all of my money.
Yes.
And then I had a little pot where I put duplicates.
Uh-huh.
And at quite a sort of tight fiscal stage, I did start spending all the duplicates.
Right.
And when I actually opened the box and got all my money out for the first time, I realised that actually most of these were duplicates in here. And I might have actually spent a fair couple of rare coins. So I feel like the swimming coin might be lost to me now.
That's a real
which
shame.
Well, I could tell you some bloody horror stories, mate. One of the worst things I've ever seen, my friend, who shall remain nameless, but let's just say Tom Burgess. I once saw him paying for a meal deal in the shop with what is probably the rarest 50p on the planet, which is the 2012 Olympics one, which has the child drawing of somebody doing the pole vault on it. And I watched him slam it in the flipping machine. And I shouted, "No!" But he didn't listen. And I'm pretty sure another friend of mine, yeah, there he is. There he is. So that's the guy. One of the greatest coins of our time.
Absolutely shameful. Well, do you know what? I'm going
it's a
make him a
JFIF file.
Is it?
It said .jfif on it.
Oh, right. Maybe that'll make it difficult to induct him into the Hall of Bad Money then.
I've never heard of it.
No, and do you know what? It's not come up in my...
Oh, I can see comments again now. Yeah, the Kew Gardens one is absolutely... I think Kew Gardens does sit up there. I think you've got Kew Gardens. Jemima Puddle Duck gets thrown around, but I don't believe it because I've seen it around. Yeah, the child's drawing of the 2012, and I think the swimming one is particularly rare, and I did have that. I have had that in my possession at some point, but I think it is now gone.
That's a shame.
Yeah. Well, we can check the app.
Yeah.
Have a look on the app.
So I'm just temporarily, for this week, inducting Tom Burgess into the Hall of Bad Money, not for being bad money, but for making a bad monetary decision, not really relating to the monetary value of the money, but more to its aesthetic and cultural value. And feel free to tell me if you feel that this is a horrid abuse of the Hall of Bad Money.
I think he'd have to tell you that himself.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, he's in the Hall of Bad Money for the time being, so we could let him know. And let's see what he feels.
Yeah, this is so here. I don't know if you can see that, but that's the.
I can't at all. Oh yes. Well, almost. Yeah. I can get that now. I see that.
Beavis and Butthead style. That's one of the rarest.
Wow.
It's a vintage of 2 million, and it was designed by 9-year-old Florence Jackson, who won a Blue Peter competition.
Wow. Well, you'd have thought that he'd want to hang on to that as well, being a real Peterhead.
Peterhead.
Interestingly, just a slight digression. My niece, when she was very young, and we were watching a cricket match, an England versus Australia cricket match. We were trying to goad her into saying rude things about Ricky Ponting, at the time the captain of the Australian team, or maybe it was Michael Clark, I can't remember. And the only insult that she could come out with well, it wasn't an insult, but it was delivered like an insult, was Peter. So for a good while in my family, we would refer to some people as massive Peters, which was entertaining for us. I don't know whether Tom would appreciate that, but
that's a lovely thing to share. And yes, I think he would. I think he would. Yes, indeed.
Do go on.
Well, I think that was the end of my story, wasn't it? Unless there were any other questions.
Oh, we've got some breaking news. Breaking news relating to the banjo player from the band Mumford and Sons.
What's he done now?
Particularly relating to a serious car accident which he has been involved in. Have you heard about this breaking news?
No, it's breaking right now.
Breaking, absolutely it is. Breaking news. You can see I've added breaking news to the current currency. Unfortunately, it's a bit too big to all fit on there. Breaking news. Mumford and
scroll across.
Sons. Yeah, I can't. I tried to figure out the scroll before and it didn't work. Mumford and Sons banjo player Winston Marshall involved in serious car accident. Eyewitness reports allege that Mr. Marshall was shining a laser pen from a pedestrian walkway over for a dual carriageway into the eyes of drivers, and one of the cars jogged up a bit of gravel which flew into his eye, and unconfirmed reports suggest that he has lost sight in one of his eyes. Would you care to comment on this breaking news story?
Yeah, what? What's the source? What's the source on this?
Eyewitness reports.
Well, who's the eyewitness?
They were unwilling to give their name.
Well, presumably not him if he's lost sight.
Yeah.
I mean, huge if true, for sure. Because right now, Mumford and Sons are in the zeitgeist, aren't they? Because the lead singer is talking about, anti-fa.
No, this was Winston Marshall as well, the banjo player.
He's the banjo player and lead singer.
No. The lead singer, as far as I know, has not had anything to say about anti-fascists. However, Winston Marshall was praising the book of Andy Ngo, and presumably to unwind after causing some controversy by praising that book, he went to a pedestrian walkway above a dual carriageway with his laser pen and was shining it into the eyes of drivers. What's your immediate reaction to this revelation?
I've got a cousin who does that.
Do you?
Now I'm wondering if they might be friends.
Could
if
be.
That's the case.
Could be. Well,
just to clarify, he doesn't. I don't think laser pens are involved, and I've never met him. I'm not allowed to. But
right.
I have heard. I didn't, because I didn't even know I had a cousin for a long time.
Not
and I found out.
One single cousin.
No, don't have any. No uncles.
Well,
no cousins. Well, I've got one, obviously. Turns out, but he's big into Eddie Stobart trucks.
Oh wow. Well, I mean, it's between Eddie Stobart and Norbert Dentressangle for the the crown of haulage, really, isn't it? European haulage. Well,
you got those ones. What are those ones that are called like Mansk or whatnot? Maersk. Yeah, I see them a lot.
Well, let's have a look at Norbert Dentressangle. I mean, look at that.
I can't see anything.
You can't see it. You can't see it because I made it go away. If we could have opinions in the chat as well, if you care to tell us who you believe are the big hitters of British haulage. Norbert Disentangle Hype says, pissing myself funny there, but I'm going to assume that is some sort of autocorrect incident that has changed Dentressangle or Dentressangle, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, to Disentangle. But Norbert Disentangle Hype is a fairly pleasing collection of words as far as I am concerned. Again, contrary opinions are potentially available, and if you have those, please do feel free to voice them in the chat. Ian
I've
Lane...
never seen one of those. Never seen that.
What, a Norbert Dentris angle?
Yeah.
Wow.
Rings no bells.
Pissing Myself says, no, just what I called it growing up. So there we go, that has been resolved. But Norbert Disentangle Hype is, for my money, a good collection of words. Hilary Deavy. Not Hilary.
Well, I don't think she's a long-haul truck, is she?
Deavy. No, but... stay with me here. She's on Dragon's Den, so is she potentially involved with Norbert Dentresangle, Dontresong, or whatever it is?
Like a celebrity gossip. Hilary Deavy entangled with Norbert Desentrangle.
CEO. I don't know. Let's have a look. West is BBC Two Dragon's Den until she left to present the Channel 4 series The Intern.
Oh, yes.
Deavy grew up in Bolton, Lancashire, and as a 7-year-old child witnessed the results of the bankruptcy of her father, who had owned a central heating company, when bailiffs removed furniture and household goods from the family home. Her family then earned a living managing pubs and hotels. She left school.
What kind of origin story is this?
Yeah.
You've got to be so arrogant to write stuff like that in your own Wikipedia article. Like that is somehow your bloody origin story for being some kind of superhero. I hate early life sections of Wikipedia articles. They don't really tell you what really went on. How did you get famous?
Business. Deavy made her, or DeVay, I believe it's DeVay. Yeah, okay. Made her fortune launching Pal X, a palletized freight network launched in 1996. Pal X was the third palletized goods distribution network to be launched in the UK. It was based on the well-established hub and spoke express parcels distribution model. This form of pallet network was pioneered by Pallet Line in 1992. Pal X handles around 8,000 palletized consignments through its Leicestershire hub each day, has over 90 network members, and has annual revenues of £59,947, or apparently 59.947 million.
Ridden pallets.
What?
It's a deep cut. I don't know if anyone really gets that, but ridden pallets. Potentially, if you get the reference, it's a great reference.
If you get the reference, please do feel free to let us know in the chat. Ian Lane says, I felt like that after reading Sam Nicoresti's Wikipedia Pagwe, presumably intending to write page, but so keen was Ian to get out his demolition of Sam Nicoresti that he popped an extra W in there. I say extra, I mean a W, which is entirely unnecessary to do the spelling of the word page. Let's have a look for Sam Nicoresti.
I guess my question would be,
Sam
in the Wikipedia page of your life, where do you think your early life section would end? And where would your controversy section begin?
I think they'd melt into one another.
I'd love to see a Wikipedia page that was just early life. That would be aspirational,
Well, I mean, you'd have to worry about what happened to curtail the early life.
Controversy, death.
Good lord, that puts a bad taste in the mouth, doesn't it? Ian Lane says, given that you knew exactly what I was saying, it's very uncharitable of you to zone in on the spare W. And then adds a topper to this bit and says, shame on you.
Hey.
W at the end. Fair play. Cannot argue with that. You've taken me down a peg, and I shall remain on one peg lower until such a time as I feel I have earned one peg's worth of ascendance.
What is the worst combination of Wikipedia? Just like on the subheadings, what's the worst combination of subheadings that you could think like that your life could get? Well, not even necessarily your life, but like just in general, what do you think the worst combination is?
Well, I mean, if there's a section that says Holocaust denialism, that's always a a good one. Let's just have a look at Army Hammers.
Already been googled. That link's purple.
It certainly is. I mean, it doesn't mention the cannibalism there, so probably not in the Hall of Fame because unfortunately a lot of sections are entitled Abuse, Allegations and Social Media Controversy. That sort of thing is 10 a penny, really, which is a shame. But there we are. Only 34 years old. No, kind of assumed that he was older. No, he's only got...
Oh, there he is. Look, you got the whole thing at the bottom right here. In 2021.
Let's...
Can I just level with you right now?
Yeah.
I've got no idea what this is. What's happening?
He was alleged to have a proclivity for wishing to eat parts of sexual partners. I don't know if he's ever... I think was generally sort of fairly conclusively, allegedly outed as being a big-time wrong'un as far as sort of non-consensual BDSM goes. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, okay.
I mean...
Yeah, this is the worst Wikipedia page.
Yeah, but not in terms of subheadings.
No, subheadings should be, early life, lead up to incident, or like pre-incident career, and then cannibalism, allegations, controversies, filmography.
Yeah. Filmography, which is...
You've got to have the filmography as the kicker. You've always got to, you've always got to have the filmography. Filmography. It's filmography, and then underneath that, self-published works.
What would you do? You have any examples of a particularly bad wiki subheadings? Guy, or gal, or person?
I wonder what the Chuckle Brothers' older brother, Mike Patton's Wikipedia, looks like. I think it's Patton.
Well, I mean, that's always...
Oh, no, that's Mike. That's Mike Patton.
That's Mike Patton, yeah.
Yes, that's Mike Patton. Yeah, we'll go the long way around.
Patton Brothers.
Patton Brothers, there they are. Oh, is it just a straight-up biography?
Jimmy Patton and Brian Patton.
Yeah, one of them is the No More Slacking guy, and the other one's the other one.
Right. Jimmy.
Oh, there's no... Okay, there's...
25-year-old Chuck Vision fan, whom he had met via Facebook. The couple married in 2017.
Yeah, it's rubbish. There's nothing good on there.
That's poor. I mean, clearly they haven't... they didn't do enough in their...
subheadings.
...time to apparently merit. Didn't realise that they grew up in Rotherham, like their brothers, Chuck Brothers, but were born in Kent.
Oh, that's nice. Men of Kent or Kentish men?
Well, I don't have enough information.
Do you take a guess? Goosey gander?
I would probably have them down as Kentish men.
Yeah.
I feel that they're probably from the Medway towns.
You got to be north of the Medway to be a Kentish man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, did we get into this last week? Or no, I think this was on my American football stream when this was covered, because we did the quiz on the 20 largest settlements in Kent and got 100%, I must say.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Thanks to, I can't remember who it was. It may have been Pete and or Lisa. It may have been pissing myself. I can't remember. Somebody got North Fleet. I think North Fleet was probably the only place that I wouldn't have got. Anyway, we're still on the current currency/breaking news. Do you have any final thoughts on Winston Marshall, the banjo player from the Mumford and Sons, getting a bit of grit in his eye from a laser pen incident?
Yeah, I'm still not entirely sure I believe it.
Reports are coming in.
If it happened,
Reports are coming in thick and fast.
if it's happened,
The
you know,
majority of
obviously
reports have been issued from this very stream, but still reports are being registered at an alarming rate.
Yeah, I mean, good luck to him.
The banjo player from Mumford and Sons has been shining a laser pen into the eyes of drivers from the pedestrian walkway above a dual carriageway, and has got a piece of grit in his eye as a result.
Yeah, I would just say, hand yourself in, do the right thing.
Absolutely.
You know, and seek medical attention. Maybe get some saline solution on that. Yeah. Make sure you wash it out properly, because no one wants to go blind. And but if you did, we could recommend you a good glass eye specialist.
Valdez
Vitas. Yeah.
Who could knock you up a world-beating ocular prosthetic in collaboration with the other man whom we discovered. Anyway, that's probably enough of current currency/breaking news, but do let me know if you have any other breaking news or currency news.
I thought I had some. Did I have some currency, some proper news this week?
I think you did.
It's the Coin of the Year Awards.
It is the Coin of the Year. Oh, well,
it's the Coin of the Flipping Year Awards, isn't it?
For that, I haven't.
Sorry.
I would just like to register just before we close the lid on the reports regarding Winston Marshall, the banjo player of Mumford and Sons, shining a laser pen into the eyes of drivers from a pedestrian walkway over a dual carriageway and getting a piece of grit in his eye as a result. Pissing myself, Funny Bear says, even if it's not true, which the weight of information flowing around would suggest it is true. Even if it's not true, he's still got to answer a lot of questions about why it's so plausible. And certainly, Winston Marshall, the lead singer, the lead banjo player of Mumford and Sons, has got a lot of questions to answer about the accusations that he has been standing on a pedestrian walkway over a dual carriageway, shining a laser pen into the eyes of drivers. And I hope that he will be answering those questions in due course. Josie, Hypatia, etc. is, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, has joined us to say the COTYs, which I'm assuming is the acronym for Coin of the Year Awards. So we cross now to Sam Nicoresti, who has this report.
Wow.
Yeah, baby, it's the Cotties. The Cotties are here thick and fast. They're coming in. It is one of the most exciting times in the world of numismatics, one of the most thrilling times to be a numismatist. It is the COTYs, Cotties. And I've just been having a look at them. So the first round of balloting went out and was completed on February the 5th. And this is the 38th annual awards program, honouring coins dated from the 2019 era, so a good 2-year gap in which these coins have been able to leave their mark. And I do believe, Andy, you are pulling up.
I am pulling up the
coin news.
Yeah, it does appear that I don't have the option to sort of scroll sideways. Right. I've resolved that by zooming in a bit. We've got some comments coming in thick and fast about this. 2 comments have come in very thick, very fast. One of them, an original comment. The second, a follow-up on that comment relating to a misspelling. Josie says, anyone has a flutter on the Cotties? I put an Acheron at Betfred, which has then been corrected to Betfred. Any other comments? Very much welcome on the Cotties.
A real problem with autocorrect today on the stream.
Well, I don't
People
know.
Got to take the training wheels off, get those stabilizers off the comments.
I don't know
Click it off. You don't need autocorrect.
Why
You're grown
an
people.
autocorrect
Come on.
would... Because the capitalisation of Betfred is there, B and F, but then it's just ended with an S, which is not something that autocorrect would do, so I suspect that it's just due to the proximity of the S and the D on the keyboard.
Okay. Well, listen, language is fluid, isn't it? It's fun to experiment.
It absolutely
That's
is.
the flip side of my opinion.
And one of my sort of nascent ideas for a short story years and years and years ago was about using a sort of uncodified system of sort of intuitive spelling to confuse AI's intent on doing sort of machine learning and overcoming humanity. But I dropped that because it would have been very bad. But I'm very keen on sort of that kind of spelling.
Were you one of those guys that used to try and bully the chatbot function on MSN Messenger?
No.
Okay. Fair fucks. I was. Hold my hands up on that. Yeah. I was a Turing test that machine for bullying.
The comments coming in
the bully test
have sped up and thickened further. 5 comments. Ian Lane is calling me out for saying that the comments were very thick, and has then postulated that maybe I was spelling it thick with 2 C's, indicating a sort of perhaps a comeliness to the comments. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
He's sort of negated his own point, isn't he, by commenting?
He has. So those can be wiped from the slate. Pissing Myself says, going to start proofreading my post more carefully. Absolutely not. Please don't. Because where would we be without slight misspellings and that sort of thing?
What's that? Wonderful Benjamin Franklin quote that we all know and love. Well, I can't really remember it, but paraphrasing it, it's something about the history of errors is the true history of mankind, because people getting things right, they're just stumbling onto the truth that has always been there. But in errors, we see humanity's creativity and ability to dream laid out.
What's
CC said something like that.
Benjamin Franklin quote that we all know and love? Benjamin Franklin's famous quotes. Love your enemies, for they tell you your faults. He that falls in love with himself will have no rivals.
No.
There never was a good war or a bad peace. He that lies down with dogs shall rise up with fleas.
What's Paul Rich's almanac? Is this something he's written?
Well, presumably, yeah.
Who's Paul Rich? Is this comedy character? No gains without pains. Oh my gosh.
Trevor Feelgood.
Benjamin Franklin was the original gym bro.
Yeah.
What is happening? I do profess no pains without gains. Very witty.
One shall engage beast mode if wishing to rise and grind.
I gotta say, right, seeing it all laid out like this, you can see the pattern to Benjamin Franklin's brain, and it's not a particularly complimentary one. He seems to pick one concept and then find its sort of rhyming opposite.
Yeah.
Smash it together.
We could go over to this article, which seems incredibly limited in its scope. 7 things that Benjamin Franklin never said. I think you could give me 5 minutes alone with this Word document, and I think I could probably bang out 500 things that Benjamin Franklin never said, starting off with the word Pokemon.
Right there, you've opened up a whole universe, haven't you?
Yeah. Anyway, Josie says this is not an autocorrect issue. This is a fat thumb issue. Pissing Myself says very strict editorial commentary today. Ruffled Bricks Ian Lane says cuddly comments, I think, and then provides another emoji which it looks from here It looks like perhaps a pigeon with some glasses on in a shawl, but I really have no idea what. Josie says, I think.
Where does he get these emojis from?
I have no idea.
Is there not a common bank of emojis we all must draw from? Or does Ian Lane, or is it Ruffled Bricks? Has he got access to?
He's called Ruffled Bricks. I don't know how Ian is pulling all of these out of the eighth. I assume it's probably a pretty simple thing, but not something I'm going to delve into particularly deeply. Josie says, I think he meant the history of eras, it's time periods. No.
Listen, I'll tell you what. How about this for a deal? It's 1748. I've got to feed my cats, otherwise they're going to go mad. Mm-hmm. I'm going to find the quote because I know which book I read it in. I'll find it and I'll come back and I'll bloody tell you. You'll all feel inspired. Yeah, let me dish it out.
Okay, great.
Well, I'll be back.
Okay, well, whilst Sam Nicoresti goes off to feed his cats, Tiger and Goblin, I hope that they won't consider that a doxing. Well, presumably, provided I don't give out their address. That probably doesn't count as a doxing. I don't know. If you have any thoughts on what constitutes doxing, do let me know in the chat. We've got a few suggestions as to famous Benjamin Franklin quotes here. Baldy suggests, I like banging prostitutes would be one of Benjamin Franklin's quotes. And ouch, what the fuck was that? Franklin flying his kite. Benjamin Franklin kite is going to be what I search next because I'm not familiar with whatever is being implied here. So did he get struck by lightning? We all know the story of Franklin's famous kite in a thunderstorm experiment, but is it the true story? On a June afternoon in 1752, the sky began to darken over the city of Philadelphia. As rain began to fall and lightning threatened, most of the city's citizens surely hurried inside, but not Benjamin Franklin. He decided it was the perfect time to go flying a kite. So if you've just joined us, Sam, which you haven't, but you have just joined us after a brief cat feeding, must be very accessible food for Tiger and Goblin.
It's a bag. It's a bag. There's a cup. Fucking slam it in the bowls.
Okay.
That's all they need, really.
Yeah. So apparently Benjamin Franklin flew a kite and got struck by lightning, but actually maybe he didn't. There is a lot of text here, which I am not.
I have heard that.
Going to consume in full. We have.
He sounds like a bit of a doofus, doesn't he?
He does.
He sounds a bit like the comic relief. You know.
Do you think
I have the quote.
The caliber of Poor Richard's almanac declined after the kite flying experiment?
Right. Yeah, that's when he got onto the whole pay no gain, haste or no waste.
Yeah. Josie says, it's cat zing, not dog sing, because I gave out the names of your cats on stream and then was concerned that maybe that could be viewed as doxing.
Hey, that's clever.
Pissing Myself says, now imagining Franklin said all these things between 1737, 537 in the traditional 12-hour clock, and 1750, 550.
Bang them all out.
To be fair,
you do have periods, you do.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're just on one.
Yep.
On a roll.
Yeah, absolutely. Would you consider yourself on a roll at the moment?
I'm always on a roll on this stream. Yeah, the chat's flowing, the beer's flowing, the company is good, the coins are.
I mean, we barely.
You can't not feel like you're on a roll when you've just got a mountain of beautiful shiny 50p's in front of you.
Absolutely, amen to that. Give us this quote, and then we should head over to the cottage because people are getting, I would imagine, absolutely rabid with anticipation of finding out the nominees and giving their thoughts on the runners and riders.
Let me tell you, it is going to blow your shoes and then your socks off.
Wow.
Because honestly, there are some great coins in there. And I've got to say, for any Brits in the house, keep a little ear open, little eye open, because I think you'll be
An ear and an
your
eye
country.
open.
Just one.
Okay.
If you've got a bit of grit in one,
Yep.
save the other eye.
Yes.
Because I think we're going to do ourselves proud. So here's the quote. Perhaps the history of the errors of mankind, all things considered, is more valuable and interesting than that of their discoveries. Truth is uniform and narrow. It constantly exists and does not seem to require so much an active energy as a passive aptitude of soul in order to encounter it. But error is endlessly diversified. It has no reality, but is the pure and simple creation of the mind that invents it. In this field, the soul has room enough to expand herself, to display all her boundless faculties and all her beautiful and interesting extravagancies and absurdities. Benjamin Franklin.
Well, I tell you what, I've spotted one of Benjamin Franklin's beautiful errors straight off the bat there, which was making that quote so bloody long. Turgid.
But it's beautiful, and what's quite interesting is attributed to some sort of...
It would be if I'd remained awake. Snorefest.
It's from some sort of report he was making to the King of France about animal magnetism.
Right, okay.
But listen, the point was what he was saying is that, like, the thing is, the truth constantly exists and anyone can find it at any time, and that's boring. But only incredibly colourful and interesting people can be wrong so beautifully. I don't know.
Right.
Just don't worry about your comments, guys. Keep them coming in, and
you've managed to summarise it more pithily than old BF.
Yeah. Haste no waste, baby.
Did he say that?
Yeah, that was. I think I spied that.
1751. That was it.
Yeah.
No haste, no waste. That was the only. It was a one-page. It was a post-it note almanac. That one. Franklin apparently got it so apt. He was talking about. Got around. So it was right. Franklin apparently got around so it was apt that he was talking about animal magnetism. Says Baldy, implying that Benjamin Franklin was a prolific shagger and perhaps even veering over into the realm of bestiality. Josie says a quote is only as long as you bother listening to it for, which I would heartily agree with. Is that your? Did you start on the Grolsch? Or have you moved? No, you started on the Heine.
No, I'm on. Yeah, I'm on to my second
Wonderful.
can.
I'm still making my way through the Wolfers Engelmann. Not my favourite Wolfers Engelmann. Perfectly nice, but possibly a little too sweet for my palate.
Well, I think that's the galaxy element.
Yeah, you think space is sweet?
Sugary is, yeah.
Okay. Let's get opinions going in the chat. Give us an S if you think space is sweet. Give us an NS if you think space is not sweet. Looking forward to gathering some data on that. Baldy says, I think.
In the meantime, do you want to see what I found outside today on the wall?
Absolutely. We've still got Sam Cam up, so that's good.
Yeah, I just thought whilst I'm big.
Yeah. Oh no.
I found it on the street.
Well, tell you what.
Check this out. Are you ready for this, though?
Yes.
Yeah. No. You tell me what, and I'll show you.
Say, like, you found it on the street. You'll put it down in your room, or in your living room, and then tonight you'll wake up, you'll turn over, and you'll find it in your bed, and its eyes will be open by then. I would burn that immediately. Oh no! Oh god! Oh dear! Oh dear! Oh.
I got it for my girlfriend because it's her last day of. She's finishing her job today.
You got it. What, you implied.
Well, can I just describe?
There was a degree of choice on your part there, as opposed to some hateful magic has meant that it is impossible for you not to have that in your possession forever now.
We've got a thing about, the sort of the cosmic psychogeography of just having a little walk. You find all kinds of weird things. I've got
You
so this
do?
is I think I've had this on my own streams before, but this we found this in a bush on Hampstead Heath once.
Ooh.
Little ghost cursed bride.
Right.
And
Okay.
she looks after my D&D dice.
Yeah.
And and this guy, of course, this is very pertinent to the money stream. This is Kai Shen, who
Hello,
we
Kai Shen.
found
There was a K in the chat for saying
on the
hello to
floor.
Kai Shen. I mean,
He's
yeah.
the god of money.
Is he?
I get him out when we do this. Yeah, I put him on my desk when we do the streams.
That's really nice that you were doing that just for yourself. Because it
This guy too.
never entered into the streams before, as far as I know. Pissing.
Oh, you didn't ask?
No, I didn't. I didn't ask. Well, so I was required to ask the specific question: do you have a representation of Kai Shen, the god of money, sitting next to you, which you have never mentioned for the coin streams? That
You
was
just
the
say, have you
question
got
that
any
was
gods on
required,
your
was it?
desk?
Right. Okay. To be fair, I did have a Ganesh, which I got from the Hindu mandir in Neasden on a school trip, which used to guard my my coin collection back home in Folkestone. So there you go.
I should have asked
you. Never
you.
asked about that. You should have done. Pissing Myself says Benjamin Franklin wiki subheading animal magnetism and related allegations. I believe that is a fanciful heading, but by the sounds of it, entirely necessary. Josie speculates, or perhaps states, that space is not sweet, it is umami.
Umami.
Baldy suggests that your gift to your GF is intended to be a subtle way of breaking up with her, but I don't believe that to be the case. But
No, it was just a choice. I say it was like a group of items outside a house, and there was this guy, or well, I'm not too sure actually, and like a sort of a plush turtle, it was like a plush turtle toy, and it was brown and it had like lovely buttons on it. But I thought you don't want to pick up something that's like plush
no,
because you can squeeze it, and then a
Yeah.
bag of old what looked like used face shields.
oh dear. I mean, you went for the least overtly sort of diseased or potentially diseased of the items, but you
That's exactly it.
did pick up the one which looks most like it is imbued with some sort of crude magic. I apologise to everyone in the chat for the fact that the sort of backing track only comes on one of the scenes. If you would like it to be extended to all of the scenes without any other backing track, do let me know. Or if you would like it to be completely expunged in the first place, also let me know. Josie has stated that the item, the sort of doll thing, looks almost as cursed as the He-Man puppet of Mantenna with the poppy-out eyes, which I have just looked up. Well, I've looked up Mantenna because I wasn't fully familiar with what Mantenna looked like.
Bit of side by side on that.
Yeah. And
You don't know what Montana looks like? This guy's fucking famous, man.
I didn't know what Mantenna looked like, but I do now.
I love Skeletor's friends are the best.
I like this guy, yeah. I'm pretty keen on Mantenna.
Yeah.
We've got a K in the chat from
That is like a
Baldy
rag
for saying hi
bag.
to Kai Shek. Is it?
Kai Shen.
Kai Shen, apologies. Oh, right, okay, that's probably the one with the poppy out eyes. I don't know.
So they can pop out, and this one
Just waves
puts his hands up.
his arms. Wow.
Lovely. Oh, my cat's just done a poo.
Oh dear. Where?
Probably in the litter tray, but the litter tray is quite close to me, and I've run out of incense.
Right.
Do you want to do the COT wise?
Yes, let's head over to the the Coin of the Year awards. Well, I should probably. Do you want the screen on you, or would you like me to do some live looking up of the? Let's do it
I
this
think
way.
we should, put it front and center. This is what we want.
Okay, so there are different
Okay.
categories, are there?
Oh yeah. So hold on, have you not got the pictures there?
Woofed. Well, not at present, I don't think. Unless there's a.
Oh. Okay, well listen, because you've got to be able to see the coins. I think that's front and center for me. You might want to try looking it up on numismaticnews.net. That's the website I use. Not to give away all my sources, but it does seem now is the time.
Okay.
Here we go. Coin of the year. Well, spoilers. If you go into world coins at the top.
Okay.
Yeah. Here it goes. 10 coins rise to top in Coty Awards.
Okay. Top 10 here. I hope that they're doing it in sort of.
And this is by the World Coin News staff. So this first up is the most historically significant coin.
Right.
Let's look at that, man.
That is absolutely brilliant. The Austrian Mint's Magic of Gold, the Gold of Mesopotamia, €100 gold coin. I mean, I don't like.
€100.
I don't. Well, yeah, that's one of the things that I don't like about it. I don't like that it's a sort of. I would love it if these were more, not sort of kind of commemorative, like event coins, but more sort of an everyday.
Yeah.
Imagine putting that much effort into maybe, or even like a €5 coin or something like that, something that has some potential sort of use value.
So you're not a fan of this? No.
I like the coin.
I will say, yeah. For me, that's the beauty of Britain. I think what we do here with our 50p's, it's bringing art to the coin masses.
Yeah, no,
I think it's radical.
I
think you will see a common theme in this, is that any fancy coin will be worth a fancy amount of money.
I mean, loath as I am to
don't fuck like that.
Heap any praise on Britain. I think you've hit an important nail squarely on its head there, thus driving it further into the timber of meaning. And I think you're right.
I hang my arguments on it,
and that's wonderful. I mean, it's a gorgeous coin. That sort of bull there, looking sort of quizzically out towards something wonderful. Is that supposed to be a sort of Gilgamesh style figure there? I don't know.
Well, whatever it is, it's historically significant.
Yeah.
So, I guess first off, I mean, what do either of us know about Mesopotamia?
I know that I was playing a Civ 6 game, and I think it was Mesopotamia, but this Gilgamesh turned up and he looked a bit like this. So that's what I'm basing that assumption on. The historical category had a nice selection this year, but this Austrian design was highly regarded right from the start. I know at least 3 nominating committee members had it on their list. Both historical and gold categories were considered for placement by the nominating committee. Not entirely sure what that means. Do you want me to go down?
Oh yeah. Come on,
Assess down. Best
There's so much
contemporary
talent
event
here.
Coin. United States Mint. Well, actually, no. Let's give the United States their dues here. This is a $1 coin. Presumably, you can spend this fucker.
But is it available in the general market? Because some people will use the fucking the press. They'll press them, but they won't distribute. They won't put them out for circulation.
Right.
And I wouldn't put it past Americans to behave in that way.
No.
Not for a second.
No. So let's just keep a track of who you have cast aspersions towards or alienated so far. Baldy for the Sammy the Tammy issue.
Well, I know. I cast aspersions towards Sammy the Tammy.
Yeah, not Baldy.
Never towards
not
Baldy.
Baldy was took issue with that, but that was
Took umbrage.
umbrage. Yes, umbrage was taken, not issue. I apologise. I can't remember your other faux pas earlier on. Well, not a faux pas. You're not a man who makes mistakes. I apologise once again.
No. Oh, I don't know. Someone in the chat.
Yeah, something else.
You know, had a bloody problem.
The United States of America for being the sort
Can I
who would
say,
do something like that. Yeah.
I think this is an ugly coin.
Yeah.
I think the offside, by which I mean I think I'm taking the boot print.
Yes.
That is good.
Okay.
It looks like it has a lovely texture. It makes really clever use of the silver of the coin to be reminiscent of the texture and shape of the moon.
I like the phases.
Flip it
of the moon
over.
as well.
That is. Oh wow! I hadn't even seen that. So yeah, you've got gibbous, waxing, gibbous, waning, crescent, all of that sort of stuff. If you're a freak who is into the moon freak, you like that kind of stuff. Flip it over. That is disgusting.
You don't like the representation of the moon men pictured in.
No, I hate this early
helmets.
Tony Hawk skater fish
Fisheye
cam.
lens. Well, I think it's that it's supposed to be on the glass of the helmet, isn't it?
Regardless, it's disgusting.
Okay.
Look at where they've just crammed $1 in there.
Yeah,
Whoever designed this coin clearly
very much like an
didn't factor the value of the coin into the design.
No. Until
after. And this out of one all at the bottom.
Yeah.
E pluribus unum. What a horrible font.
You're not keen on that?
I'm not at all.
How would you... Right, let's just do a hypothetical adjustment to this coin. How would you feel if $1 was written stark across the middle, no warping on the text, just right across the middle? How would that make you feel?
What does a normal dollar look like, I guess, would be my question. What am I expecting? Oh wow! So this is a real departure.
Yeah. So it's a silver dollar, isn't it? Silver. Right. So it's this kind of thing. Well, it looks a bit 1 ounce.
Yeah. Okay.
Fine silver $1.
I want to see that with Apollo 11 in the middle.
Yeah.
What they've done there is pig-headed.
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 So you were right. So you're charging you are in charge of the United States Mint. You are coming up with a coin to commemorate the moon landing. You have for some reason employed a pig as your just kind of head of design or whatever, and you reckon that's what they've come up with.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be good for a pig, which is probably how it got to this stage. Someone probably saw that design and thought, fuck me, for a pig, that is good.
Yeah. Good for a pig.
You have to think in human terms.
Yeah, no, you're right. Given that
when it comes to coins,
the pig presumably has precious little interest in coins. Beyond
clearly
presumably beyond the amount of feed that designing a coin brings the pig. I don't know whether it would be remunerated monetarily or with
probably not. Probably got it on the cheap, didn't they?
Yeah. Look, I mean, my question is out, but as far as hires are concerned, this is one of the cheapest we can make. Pissing Myself says, don't like to see a shadow on a coin like that. So the shadow of the...
well, now we're getting into Stanley Kubrick Fate the Moon Landing kind of territory, which is the other problem I have with this coin. It's just going to spark controversy again. It's going to set them off again.
How do you get the colouring on there? Well, I say the sort of darkening. How? Do you know anything about that?
Because looking at that, it looks like it's embossing, isn't it? But that is clearly a second colour that's been added, isn't it?
Well, I don't know, but you'd presume that if it's all a sort of mixture of a mixture of sort of densities and ridges and that sort of thing, that would need to be quite an indent to create that sort of trick of
deep,
light.
Wouldn't it? That would go pretty deep. Yeah, you're right.
Josie
the
says,
thickness of this coin.
Josie says, I thought this was the Cotties, not the Cash Razzies. Of course, the Cash Razzies could refer to the Hall of Bad Money. So I'll just show, because I don't know if Josie was here when we unveiled the Hall of Bad Money earlier. Of course, currently containing 10 centimos, $100 bills, and by extension, any American dollar bill which has the joke word art font on it for the money. The 20 pence from Gibraltar, and Tom Burgess for spending a fancy 50p, much to the disappointment of Sam Nicoresti. I did mention earlier that anyone wishing to remove anything from the Hall of Bad Money would need to, or would rather be able to, state their case in the chat. So if anyone does, take exception to any of those entries, then please do show your working in the chat. Anyway,
wow.
Returning to the Cotties. So, well, I think we were fairly up on the most historically significant coin as far as aesthetics were concerned, but some issue taken with its lack of utility, which I think goes against your sort of theory of, or your appreciation of coins, as you're more in it for the aesthetics.
For me,
yeah.
No, I think I said at the start that a fundamental part of coin collecting is your ability to come across them in the wild marketplace.
Yeah. Once again, I apologise for misrepresenting.
Because otherwise, what we're looking at is just posh art.
Yeah, no, you're right. The 50th anniversary
and there's no value
of the Apollo 11 moon landing was a highly commemorated event, with many imaginative coins created. The United States Mint coin was heavily favoured by the judges panel, receiving more than double the votes of any other nominee in the category. And, well, I mean, we can have a look,
what the heck?
because we've got the nominees here. The best contemporary event coin. We have the Belgian €5 silver 50th anniversary of the moon landing. The Canadian $1 silver 75th anniversary of D-Day. France.
Stretching contemporary there, aren't they?
Well, maybe it was burning. Maybe it was burning. When did it burn?
Oh no, I meant D-Day.
Oh right.
It burnt like 2 years ago.
Well,
do you remember? Everyone was like, "Oh no," and everyone was sharing Civilization. People are so funny.
Right. Speaking of a contemporary event, I'm just about to open the Bistrampolio. Which I will open now. I think that's.
Oh wow!
If you were to commemorate this event with a coin, what that coin look like?
Oh, it would be lovely. It would be a sort of buttery coin.
It's got a fearsome nose on it. I think we've just had a follow.
Queen's
just
nose.
had a follow. Just got a little noise in my ear. The little image came up in the side. So thank you very much to whoever's just followed us. Very much appreciate. I say us. I mean me. Sam is merely a guest on my channel, but a very, very welcome guest. It's pouring the Bistrampolio. We also have the 10,000 yen gold 30th anniversary of the enthronement of new emperor. Japanese coin there. We're going to have to pop the Bistram, because obviously you're not going to get through that in one one glass, so that's going to have to go down.
But hold on, but they had a new emperor not like 2 years ago, didn't they? We entered a new era. Well,
yes, well, clearly this
it wasn't
one only
30 years ago.
28 years.
Well, I don't see why a coin commemorating the 30th anniversary of the enthronement of an emperor who is now gone would qualify for a contemporary event.
Well, there was probably a coin. Well, the event is obviously the anniversary, isn't it? I think that's the condition with all of these. So the one that won is a 50th anniversary coin. Let's have a look at the North Korea 1-1 brass Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un coin.
Yeah, it's very excited to get. Well, it comes with a reference number, doesn't it? You could probably just whack that in.
I probably could, but I haven't done that, obviously. I'd have to put the... Lord, I'm sorry about this.
Well, no, we're all excited to see this coin.
Tell you what...
We're excited, I think, for me as well, to learn what the currency of North Korea is.
It's the one, isn't it? I'm having trouble copying and pasting, so it's KM1322, isn't it?
Yeah. Just remember it like a guitar tab, and then it sticks in your head.
Tell you what, it's not actually showing me the coin.
Oh, there it is.
Oh.
Hold on. Oh. Why? This is their coin. Why does Kim have less of a half? It's completely uneven.
I don't like colours on a coin.
No, it's not a coin, is it? It's a sort of
weird,
badge.
Odd, a dumpster fire. This is Trump's North Korea summit coin.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, because
so they both made a coin.
Yeah, and clearly another coin came up just before you click this. Could this be the US one?
Yeah, there was a gold one on there. Hold on, I think you could go down the top. There it is.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's certainly better.
It is. It's better, isn't it?
I mean, I'd like to see the onside.
You think that's the offside?
There's the on. I believe that's the on.
That is on.
That.
That's got to be on. That's 1-1.
Yeah. I mean, you've sort of.
Well, that could just be what they normally look like.
Yeah. No, and that's nice. I like that. I like that kind of. I'm a sucker for that style of kind of crest and stuff, with the with the kind of celebration of like power stations and
agriculture. That looks like corn coming up the sides there, doesn't it?
The old star as well. I do like that. I mean, that I'm a real sucker for that kind of thing. Then obviously you've got, but fuck me, that is rank. That is rank. But the Korean one does seem markedly better.
Surprised it was in contention. I mean, contemporary events in the coin world, there's been a long stretch on them, isn't there? And a lot of controversy. For me, like, my overriding feeling looking at this shortlist, surely America was always going to win. Why was any other country trying to commemorate the moon landing?
Yeah.
Commemorate your own bloody thing.
Trying to look at the Russian coin, which is in contention.
Holy fuck! What's that commemorating?
Well, actually, I don't think that this is the right coin here. I don't think so. Anyway, so this is supposed to be the Russian KM 18623 ruble silver 5th anniversary of the Eurasian Economic Union.
Yeah.
But it's a tenga, so it's Kazakhstani, isn't it? And let's be honest, or rather, I'm gonna come out and say that I love that coin.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think, is that a picture of a dog in the middle?
I think that might be a little dog.
Of the offside.
But
yeah, there's a little dog in the centre of the offside.
This?
And what is that?
Well,
he's got a massive neck.
Yeah.
Big problems there.
Thinker. Tobil Dishley.
He's like a slug body.
Tobil Thinker. Is this the... Yeah. Okay, so that's we've already got that.
That's crazy.
And that is tremendous. So maybe that's something else. So we've got a few comments coming in. Josie says, looks like a pog, referring to the American Kim Jong-un Donald Trump summit. Pissing myself is enamoured with the pylon on the Korean effort. And Josie says, I'd like a coin to commemorate a really nice spag bol. Would you care, Josie, to posit in the chat what you think would go into a really nice spag bol? What's your process? Because I made a vegetarian.
And also, what a really nice spag bol coin would look like.
Yes, as well as that, please. Both would be deeply appreciated chat inputs. I really have got a lot of just returning to this coin, as I believe we probably should. I've got a lot of time for that. If I were to, I'm in charge of this award, the United States $1 silver 50th anniversary of the moon landing would not be getting a fucking look in when this guy's on the table. I mean, given that this says Russia, 3 ruble, I think that actually this must be nominated in a different category. But
well, hopefully we'll get to it.
Yeah, hopefully we will get to it.
Because I would love to see that coin.
Yeah, okay, well, let's skip through...
So coming up next, we've got best gold coin. If we switch back to the...
Best gold coin. China gold coin.
Like China's,
100 yuan. The art of Chinese calligraphy.
Yeah, fair dues.
Yeah. If I were to nitpick, which I suppose is permitted, I don't really like the typeface for the 2019. I don't know why, but it's just not speaking to me. I mean, it is speaking to me in that it's saying 2019, but there's something about it. It's the only
thing that we can read on the entire coin. Yeah, I wonder if maybe why not go the whole hog? I don't know. I'm not familiar with what I presume is Mandarin, but speaking a little Japanese, I do know that they have their own numerical system.
Yeah.
That they could employ, and to be honest, they don't.
Well,
but if I was making
what's this next to the hundo on the onside?
Well, that'd be Wan, wouldn't it? That'd be.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I would say that the numbers are my only kind of sticking point with this. Just crossing back over to Josie's spag bol. The nice spag bol and the coin commemorating it would both have a relatively low nickel content. Which I would have.
It's a good place to start for both.
To agree with, yeah. I probably wouldn't be putting any nickel in a spag bol. Certainly not intentionally.
I had a lovely spag bol last night.
Did you? What was your method?
Well, I had hand rolled. Well, I didn't make it, but I had hand rolled beef balls and spaghetti.
Yeah.
And the tomato sauce should never be watery. So it's thickened up with a bit of passata. Passata, mozzarella in there. Get it fucking popping for you there. Bit of basil on top.
Wow. Quite the affair.
Yeah, it was good. That's good stuff.
I made one last week, and I made the mistake of using a meat recipe and substituting the meat for a plant-based mince substitute, which did not react to the milk which was used in the bowl
What?
in any way.
Milk?
It was a Marcella recipe, which I'd imagine if I had done it properly would have been very nice.
Milk?
Milk, yes, a small amount of milk went in there. But given that it was a large, because I was scaling the recipe up as well to feed the amount of people in the house, I had to scale up the amount of milk as well. I didn't at any point consider that this would be a bad idea, which obviously it was, because it turned the consistency of the whole dish to a sort of slurry. And given that the plant-based mince didn't really brown in the way that you would expect of a real mince, it kind of took on the texture and aesthetics of a tubby custard from the Teletubbies for a little while. It became edible in the end, but I had to go off book and take steps that were not outlined in the Marcella recipe to pull it back from the brink, because I did think that it was going to need to be tossed out, and I would need to buy takeaway for everyone in the house to make up for this.
Oh my god. Okay.
Josie says they would also both have the distinctive texture of corn mince. That's from the coin and the spag bol. Passata versus passata, posits Josie as well. Any thoughts on that? Quick take on that?
No, but I would say with a coin, you could, for me, it would be a meatball on the offside. Okay. Just a fucking meatball with a single bit of spaghetti. Here's where it gets crazy. Yes. The spaghetti loops down over the rim of the coin, and you can flip it around, and then the spaghetti comes back up, and it forms a sort of spaghetti Q, which stands in for queen.
Right. Okay. So this is a coin of a country that has a monarchy, then.
This is our coin.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, it would be a 50p. It would be a 50p.
That probably is appropriate, because apparently the Italians would not have bolognese with spaghetti. Spaghetti bolognese is a sort of a fairly distinctively English or British thing. They would have it with tagliatelle, I believe.
Oh, okay. It's not from the. Was it from Bologna?
Well, bolognese is, but they wouldn't have spaghetti bolognese. They would have it with tagliatelle.
They wouldn't put spaghetti near it.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fair dues.
Right. So we've covered the best gold coin, the art of Chinese calligraphy, an outstanding selection.
I can see this guy coming up again.
I can. Well, do you want to just run through? If you can, I need to go to the toilet again. I'll be very. I'm very apologetic about that. If you would be able to look at the nominees for best gold coin briefly, and perhaps describe them to the chat, and then we can cover any highlights when I get back from having a piss. I noticed that the Mongolian 1000 Togrog Wildlife Protection Gobi Bear coin is mentioned there. I don't know what it looks like, but I'm very, very enthused by all of the nominees, all of the words, sorry, in the name of that coin. But I do need to go to the toilet, so I'll just put the Sam screen back up, and if you can describe these coins, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, well, I mean, first up, Andy's made it too small for me to really see, but going off memory from what I scanned, I don't really know who half of these people are. Well, I think we had Aubrey Hepburn in there, so big fan. She was in Breakfast at Tiffany's, maybe. Beautiful lady, talented actress. Was she Carrie Fisher's mum? Is that the same woman, or that was Debbie McGee? No, that was Debbie McGee. Was that magician's wife who died? She didn't die. He died, and his name was Paul Daniels, and her name then was Debbie Reynolds. So I would love to see a coin commemorating Debbie Reynolds, but Aubrey Hepburn, yeah, I'll take. And what else we got? The Vienna School of Psychotherapy. Yeah, I would argue as has Adam Curtis in many of his famous documentaries, that the impact of Freudian analysis upon our current Western psyche has had an effect that could be termed in terms of the whole century, the rise of the individual and capitalism's attempt to colonize the final frontier of our souls after the death of God by creating a sort of godlike cult around money and using the sort of individual to drive us apart and all of that sort of stuff. Yeah, I think a coin commemorating that would be on point. Who else have we got in there? The Art of Chinese Calligraphy, which of course we saw one, so very happy for that. Mariah Carey, both. Either one of those I would take, Mariah or Marie. Obviously, one's had a sort of a bigger influence on science and the discovery of whatever it was, radioactive, and Mariah, bigger influence on music with her lovely songs, including the best of. And are you back?
I'm back, yeah. What have we covered?
Well, I couldn't really see, so I just had
I had forgive me for making assumptions. I had assumed that perhaps you would pull up a Google Chrome window of your own and
okay,
and look up the coins and then describe them. I'd assumed that. Obviously,
I've got it up now.
That has not happened. But as Benjamin Franklin would say, something very, very long and boring about the beauty of errors. And I think that was a particularly beautiful couple of moments as far as your conduct is concerned. Josie says, my ultimate dream is for a remaster of Lady and the Tramp where the dogs pay for their spag meal with the special coin. Good promotional opportunity, and that would be absolutely wonderful. I don't know if we have anyone in the chat who would feel moved to perhaps mock up anything relating to the situation, either the spag bowl commemorative coin or the Lady and the Tramp paying for their meal with a coin. But if we do have anyone who would be who would find some value in spending some of their time doing that, that would be greatly appreciated. I know that the streams that I'm most fond of are those which have an active community of people who have too much time on their hands to make sort of tangentially related stream based artworks. But I accept that it is a lot to ask. I'm just going to go right ahead and look up the Mongolia 1000 Togrog Wildlife Protection Gobi Bear coin.
That's what we're all waiting to see.
Hello, Pete, and
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Togrog.
Absolutely.
Imagine that getting that in your change.
Yeah. Is that the... That appears to be the reverse... That's the onside as well.
Oh, is that the onside?
That's the onside.
Is a Hozzy or a Verti?
It's difficult to tell, isn't it? I mean... I would say it's impossible to tell. In this...
How much is it worth? Can we get a quick Togrog to GBP?
Absolutely. Tugrik is how...
Tugrik? Okay, it's not a Togrog.
Well...
Money.
Okay,
this is a classy Bureau de Change we're running here.
The Mongolian Tugrik is not Immediately available.
Huh? What? Hey.
Well, I mean that. Yeah. I can't.
Let me get my eyes on this. It can't just be, Togrog. Well, it's got 2 umlauts over both O's.
Tugrug.
Tugrug.
Well, where is it?
Yeah, abbreviated to MNT.
But where is it?
And so you want an MNT, the GBP converter. TransferWise.com. Hold on, I'm on it. Right. What? How much is it worth, the coin?
1,000.
Oh, it's worth 25 pence.
Wow. I mean, fair play.
So you could really be looking to get that in your change from a bag of quavers. Could you imagine that?
I would. Well,
that would cut if you bought a blue moon with a tenner.
Yeah.
You'd be odds on to get one of those. Oh my god! Look at this mouse! Look at this pig!
Well, I don't know where these coins are from. This is just lots of the Mongolian 1,000 Togrug coin. I'm an extremely big fan of.
Yeah, 2 thumbs up for me.
I would probably. I'd probably be putting it above that, the Chinese calligraphy one.
Yeah.
Just because it's got a nice bear on it, I think. We have some further comments. Pete and Orlise have joined and say, "Hi, Andy and Sam. How are coins?" And in relation to the 1,000 Tugruk coin, that's a good coin. Something I believe that certainly Sam and I would agree with heartily. I don't know about the rest of the chat, but I would, I would welcome diversity of opinion, but also welcome any votes of support for the calibre of the 1,000 Tugruk coin. Josie says, "Sorry, won't be making any fan art. I've got previous with the Disney lawyers." So that is perfectly acceptable, a very reasonable explanation. I would also have accepted, I don't have time, I'm not sufficiently bothered, and just no, are all acceptable explanations, reasons, excuses, which I will be accepting still. So we've done the... Are there any more of those that you'd like to take a look at?
Well, I didn't actually get good peeps on them before, so let's see. We had, Viktor Frankl. I don't know who that is. No. Audrey Hepburn. I think she's from Breakfast at Tiffany's.
She is, yeah. And
early Canadian history. Whatever. It's just going to be a bunch of fucking rocks. Yukon Gold Rush or whatever. Yeah. Marie Curie. Yeah, I think that's a pretty solid. I bet that's quite a good one.
Okay, well, let's have a look.
Get eyes on that. I mean, really, they should put pictures of all of the nominees on the website, shouldn't they? I don't know why. They're a coin website.
It's a surprisingly...
Oh, wow. I mean, that tactile coin.
Yeah. It appears quite rough.
It is rough, isn't it? Yeah. Now, what did Marie Curie discover? Because I said radioactivity, and I don't think that's right.
It was something.
I think what I said was wrong.
It was something to do with that. Pete and Orlise have provided.
This angry gerbil
have provided a link to a whole range of animal coins in Mongolia. There is one quite menacing hamster one. You've got to say,
oh wow,
yes, that is. So that's Campbell's dwarf hamster, Phodopus campbelli, originate from Mongolia, northeast China, and southern Siberia, but are nowadays bred worldwide and kept as pets. And there's the wildlife protection. Oh, good lord! Good lord!
And that's a great use of that black shadowing. Look at that. That's how you do it.
The
Not with some
fucking-
stupid
the
Neil
moon,
Armstrong
The
shadow.
bloody moon can take a hike. Have I still got the moon up?
Yeah. Well, I've bloody had peeps that it's coming up for this next category, which I'm already pissed off about.
Well, would you like to induct it into the hall of bad money?
Well, let's see what it won a second award for first.
Best silver coin.
Oh, get fucked. What are the nominees? Let's look at the nominees for this one. And also, sorry, it will be Buzz Aldrin's shadow.
Right.
Right.
The nominees are Australia, Versailles Centenary. Austria, Reaching for the Sky, The Dream of Flight. China, World Heritage Pingyao. Germany, 100th anniversary of the Bauhaus. Italy of
Now
Arts.
that's a coin I want to see.
Duomo of Milan. What, the Bauhaus?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's KM379. Let's see if that. Fuck's sake. This is really annoying. I'm gonna have to get rid of some of these tabs just to. I'm loath to get rid of that one there. Oh.
Ugh, yeah.
Okay, the Curie coin's eating it, and obviously that the link to that is maybe that's prudent to what we're discussing at the moment. 20 euro.
Okay. I don't think that's the best use of what they could have done. Looks a bit like an emoji. Looks a bit like Habbo Hotel in there, doesn't it?
Do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not bowled over by that. What's this J doing
I'm not
there?
surprised it didn't win. Do you know what? That was an interesting question I had from earlier, because when you pulled up a large-scale photo of my girl guiding coin, I noticed for the first time in my life that underneath the eastern and western clover, I don't know if that's the right word, or left and right clover, there are small initials, one of which I think says JE and the other which says OH. I don't know if you can see that there. You have to have really good eyes like me to be able to see it, I'm afraid.
I'm having trouble seeing it.
There.
Let's
you'd have to
the list
Google
of
it.
most expensive coins, because we've not delved into that, and I'm not really all that bothered to do so. So just freeing up a bit of tab space. 50p girl guides. What were the initials?
I think it says JE and OH. I just wondered what that meant. Well, if you get a picture of it up, just so you see what I mean, and then maybe people might have an idea.
Oh, yes.
Do you see?
Oops. Sorry, yes. Yes, I do see.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can... Well, unfortunately, the coin keeps... So you've got the... I think that's DH, actually. I would... Maybe?
Oh.
I'm not too sure.
Oh, yeah, it is
See the
DH.
JE,
You're right.
The DH there.
Jed.
I don't know who founded the Girl Guides, but maybe that's some... Well, I don't know that, but obviously we've got the world and infinite knowledge at our fingertips. So, presumably...
Was it Powell? Oh, what a fuck! I was going to say that it was Powell, and I was like, it couldn't. Could it possibly be Powell?
They're all right. He chose the name Guides. Yeah. So no. Other influential women in the history of the movement.
Guy, man.
Juliette Gordon Low, founder of the Girl Scouts of America. Well, there don't appear to be any particularly sort of prominent JEs or DHs that are
Would it be the initials of the designer potentially?
Could be.
Yeah. It's Google's putting up nothing for me, so I don't know. It's pretty crazy though, right?
Yeah. Josie posits that JEDH is French for I of H, so it could be that.
Could be it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Anyway, I think we're getting bogged down here. So the Bauhaus coin has a mysterious J on it, but anyway, that's by the by, really, isn't it? Phew. Sorry. The other coins nominated in Best Silver Coin were Italy of Arts Duomo of Milan, Latvian poet Carlos Scalber, Netherlands 75th anniversary of Operation Market Garden. Did you ever play Battlefield 1942?
No.
Oh, right. Well, that was one of the missions on Battlefield 1942.
Is Operation Market Garden? It's a war thing, is it?
It's a war thing. Yeah, it's a Second World War thing. I think it was something to do with taking a bridge. As you know, a lot of the Second World War seemed to be concerned with.
That's all it was, wasn't it? Yeah, so get over it. Jesus Christ.
War, anyway, yeah.
Took a bridge.
Ooh, this sounds quite good. Ukraine, KM973 5 Ruvnia, silver, the Cold Ravine.
Yeah, I was excited for this to come up when I saw it.
Okay. How many Ruvnia was it?
5.
5. Cold Ravine.
Oh. Oh. I mean, what is it?
It's the Cold Ravine.
What is the Cold Ravine?
No idea. Is this the... Do we feel that this is the reverse of the...
I feel like that must... Yeah. I'd put that up for a competition.
Now, can I just shock you?
Mm-hmm.
Given what I said about colours on coins earlier, I think I'm willing to permit this.
Why?
Because it's not a the sort of green isn't a bright colour that leaps out at you.
What's the Ukrainian flag?
It's yellow and blue.
Okay, well then that's fine.
Stripes.
I think it's if it's because that American coin was disgusting.
Yeah,
it was full
of. It was rancid. It was absolutely rancid.
Red, white, and blue. Was thick. No, I like this one, and I have absolutely nothing against colour. I think the only thing with coloration in coins is that it takes it again out of the popular marketplace. You're not going to get a coloured coin is the collector's item is the problem.
Yeah.
But I will say, I mean, like these Beatrix Potter coins that everyone loves so much. They will do these in colour, and let's be honest, that's cool. That's a nice thing. Nothing wrong with it.
I like that coin.
I like that coin. Yeah.
And then obviously we've got this.
I'm going to go right ahead. I don't want to inundate the Hall of Bad Coins on its first day, but I hate the moon landing coin.
I mean, we've talked it through. I'm not keen on it either. And I think that will be going into the Hall of Bad Money.
I think you've just got to be honest with yourself. If a coin is making you feel this strongly, you've got to listen to your body.
I succeeded in saving it, but clearly I haven't. So let me just hard agree. Pissing myself is all up for putting the I mean, I tell you what. I'm not going to put the boot print side in as our representative in the Hall of Bad Money. I'm going to pop the this side in. Not that you can see it at the moment. The onside is going in there. It's huge.
Oof.
It is huge.
Yeah.
At the moment.
Let's really make sure that we look at this though before we, I do want to see it huge.
Yeah, well, let me resize that briefly.
Okay, I'm now seeing for the first time that this is actually a space helmet.
I did tell you that.
I didn't really understand that before.
Yeah. So it's as seen in the helmet.
So, hold on. So is this Buzz Aldrin?
Photograph. This is the photograph taken of the other fella.
Of Neil Armstrong.
Neil Armstrong.
Yeah, but what's the perspective? What I don't understand is whose perspective are we supposed to be viewing this from?
No, that's a
Are
good
we
question.
Neil Armstrong?
That's a good question.
Or are we Buzz Aldrin having an out-of-body experience?
Who took the picture?
I'm pretty sure Buzz was on pictures.
So that's
Neil Armstrong was showing off, wasn't he?
Far
He had to
away,
memorise that speech that he messed up.
taking the picture in Armstrong's helmet. So I think we were actually viewing this from the perspective of Buzz, but it zoomed in on the helmet.
But it's not. But he didn't take a photo with his helmet. He had a camera.
No. Yeah, but he's holding the camera in his hands.
Okay.
You see.
I understand the picture itself in the helmet. That's fine. But once you take a step back and you say, if the coin is the helmet and we are looking at the coin, then whose perspective are we seeing this picture from? Because are we seeing the reflection of the photo completely in this person's visor? In which case, who are they? And why are we so close to them? But and we're not reflected in it at all.
I don't know, man. This is getting a bit much. Josie asks whether this is the first selfie.
Yeah.
I suppose
it's freaking me out. I think it's got to go in.
Yeah,
I think it's got to go in.
Okay, let's just make it very small so that we don't have to contemplate it all that much anymore.
Yeah.
And get back to good coins.
Let's hope so.
So moving on to, it is 6:55, by the way, on Sunday the 7th of March 2021. Moving on to the best crown.
I might go to oh yes, okay.
You're going to go to the...
Do we want to take bets on who we think wins before we look?
Yeah,
I was going to, but maybe I'll place my bet first.
Well, okay, so I'm actually quite pleased. I was worried that this would be organised with the winner at the bottom of the list, but thankfully it's not. It's just alphabetical.
Are they in for it again?
They are nominated again.
Not a fan of these guys at all.
No. So you have the Australian silver, the Earth and Beyond the Sun coin. The Canadian 200th anniversary of the birth of Her Majesty Victoria Queen. The Queen Victoria.
Okay.
Cook Islands. Titanium Chang'e 4 Space Panda.
Okay, now that's a curveball because I was assuming, based off the Canadian one, that best crown was best depiction of the monarch. But now I'm sort of feeling I don't know what a crown is.
No, well, it's interesting that you came to that conclusion having already heard that the Australian one was. Or were you just suggesting that there would be an image of the Queen on that was particularly good?
I don't know. I guess I just thought maybe that it was what they had called the portrait of Her Majesty.
Right. Okay. What? The Earth
But
and
I think
beyond
Space
the
Panda
sun.
is on the sun. Yeah, like a sort of, you know, some sort of like communist.
It's a bold assumption to come to.
Like,
I'll credit you there.
yeah, I mean, Space Panda has definitely knocked this theory for six, though.
It really has.
My money's on Space
I would
Panda
have
at the
said that the
moment.
theory had been knocked for six already, but based on the first entry in the nominees. But never mind.
You're right. You got to remember, I'm juggling a concern for a piss here as well.
Why
so
don't
you know,
why don't you just go and have that so that we can address this in the with the sincerity and attention that it deserves.
I will.
Sam Nicoresti heading off to void his bladder in the appropriate area, and he must be celebrated, but perhaps not celebrated, certainly congratulated for not voiding himself in an inappropriate area, say his chair, or anywhere in his house other than his toilet, unless it had beforehand been designated as a toileting area. I don't know how I do know how he lives his life, and it is not in that manner, but if he were to have made a change over the course of lockdown, over the course of the pandemic, I certainly would not condemn him out of hand. I would listen to his reasoning first. Josie suggests that Neil Armstrong may have had one of those. No, Buzz Aldrin rather may have had one of those special sticks for his phone. Possibly, we cannot rule it out. A lot of things going on with the moon landings that maybe we don't already know about, such as, did they happen? We can never be sure. Certainty, in my book, is deeply suspicious. So, what else have we got in the best crown? And how would you define a crown? What is a crown in currency? A crown is a unit of currency used in the Czech Republic, Iceland, Norway, Sweden, and Denmark. This has not really answered my question. The British crown, the successor to the English crown and the Scottish dollar, came into being with the Union of the Kingdoms of England and Scotland in 1707. As with the English coin, its value was 5 shillings. So, Sam, I'll be honest, I'm no clearer to arriving at is the back end of the Grolsch giving you some trouble there?
Yeah, sorry.
That's fine. You're onto your Halston next. That'll be a joy.
Is it? What? I don't know if you're being sarcastic or not. I just got it because the downstairs neighbours drink it by the truck ton.
I think it's probably the lesser of the three available, but it is cheap.
Interesting.
What I said about putting it last was because by the time you reach it, you should have you've already taken on a little beer, so that may make it
Jesus logic
better, more palatable. Not that it's rotten. It's not a rotten drop, but it's also not tremendous.
No, I feel like this is all something we learn, in RE, isn't it? That's like one of the main things you get out of it. Or when Jesus says to do that. Something you remember into your teenage years, isn't it?
Drink the Holston.
Drink the good stuff first. Give them the good plunk up top, and then save the Holston until later, mate.
Yeah. Josie says, I don't think a country should be allowed coins if they don't have a king, queen, non-binary monarch. Queen, only contactless payment for republics, please. That's a very bold. Perhaps it's not
really
all that bold proposition. I would say, rotting up against the fact that I would say most, if not all, countries do have, physical currency, and probably the majority of countries on Earth are not monarchies anymore. I would say that proposition certainly comes into conflict with that fact. But yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
We've been here before on this channel because we've rubbed up against the problems of putting elks and beavers on coins in Canada. Leaves you in a tricky situation as to what you're calling a head and why.
Yes. But we haven't previously covered the complete abolition of coins in countries which do not have monarchies.
It's certainly a radical position to take, and I think that with all radical positions, it should, give us pause to really think about what the status quo is and why.
Yeah.
And I think it does put into perspective that coins are becoming a sort of an obsolete medium. Mm-hmm. I suppose, that are moving into this sort of wistful, romanticized. I mean, this is a lot of what the cotties and our coin collections are all about. Money is becoming a sort of frivolity.
Yeah.
As if this is what the technocrats wish us to believe, but I would say that a future in which you have to have access to a credit card, a Bitcoin account and a card reader and all of this sort of stuff in order to buy basic food and goods is not, to me, the sign of a republic. It ties you to
this world of data and
things.
traceability and removes your ability to take yourself out of the grid, really, doesn't it?
It removes, absolutely it does. You can't get off grid, and more to the point, you can't think for yourself or survive for yourself if you need to. You're not allowed the opportunity. It's what I think when I see these shops in London that only accept Bitcoin for like bagels.
Yeah, bullshit. Imo.
It is bullshit.
We have some comments. Picking up Josie's remark about a non-binary monarch. Josie's suggestion was Quing. Pissing Myself Funny Bear has gone perhaps not one better, but certainly provided a parallel solution, Themperor, which I'm pretty keen on, I'll be honest. I would, I think that's pretty good. Quing obviously is relying on gendered, a sort of a portmanteau of gender terminology. Obviously, I don't know how many, don't know how the term emperor has been defined prior, but it feels like it is more.
The Roman emperors was transgender.
Really?
Yeah, it's an interest. Yes, their name is like Elagabalus, maybe, and it's an interesting story. I can't remember all off the top of my head, but it's right. They were recruited from some sort of cult, and they were potentially Arabic as well. Okay. It was a really interesting choice, and they came in, and whilst like obviously the terminology and language didn't exist then for these kinds of things, they always insisted on being an empress and wearing women's clothes and not being referred to as an emperor. And they were of course, as many emperors eventually done in by the Praetorian Guard who love a good fucking assassination.
Josie asks whether you're
they
thinking
fucking
of
love it.
Heliogabalus.
I don't know. Let's look it up.
Okay. Elagabalus or
okay, yeah, fair fucks. I'm actually I'm getting peeps on the fact that I guess I might have been, it's Heliogabalus, also known as Elagabalus. I guess that's where whatever I said was coming from. Eglabalus.
His short reign was conspicuous for sex scandals and religious controversy. Obviously, they've already the Wikipedia article has gone straight in gendering the emperor.
Well, like I say, the terminology didn't exist, so it's like And I think that I think they tried to escape assassination. They hid in a trunk with their mother, were found and died in her arms.
Right. Wow. I mean, there's a lot of fairly expressive language here already.
What's the subheadings? How are we doing for the
subheadings? Family and priesthood, rise to power, emperor 218 to 222.
Rise to power. I'm putting in rise to power.
Yes.
Has to be one of the key ingredients of the of this competition.
Yeah. Emperor, journey to Rome and political appointments, religious controversy. Goliath Frog Ed has already picked up on marriages, sexuality and gender as a key, presumably a key subheading for our particular question. Don't know why marriages gets a look in there. Fall from power, assassination, which is a pretty definite end to the life section of the of the Wikipedia page, and launching us into the fairly extensive conjecture section. Sources.
Yeah, you're just missing a filmography.
Yeah. Josie says that Heliogabalus famously ended a big party by drowning all the guests in petals. Now that is a pretty extraordinary way to end a party.
That is, yeah. It feels so soft as well. Like they had to be very gently.
Yeah.
I fucking love Roman emperors.
What's the most extraordinary entry party you've ever witnessed?
I guess, I don't know. In Edinburgh, we went to see Leighton live with my friend Fraser, and he kept telling us that Leighton live was going to be the best thing that we'd ever seen.
Yeah.
And we went, and because I think there was a documentary on it. It was famous for being a sort of a rowdy haven of up and coming, like Russell Brand getting on and going, I've done some heroin, my little lovely jubblies, and I do pontificate upon the ponderous meaning of the universe, my little wobblies.
You've done that. And
we went, and it was like Kai Humphries did like 10 minutes about dwarfs. He just kept fucking, and it was awful. And then I had Buckfast for the first time in my life, and then I came home. And I thought it was like the shittest thing I'd ever seen. And I got completely naked, and I lay on the floor of our communal kitchen, and I was sort of doing a cartwheel on the floor, and I just kept saying in a high pitched voice, "Leighton live, Leighton live."
I've heard about this.
Yeah, that was the thing that came into my head. It's probably not the worst end to a party I've ever seen. I think when I was 14, I went to a rave. And it got raided by police, and when they came in, all the lights came up, and I had my pants down.
Oh no!
And I had my fingers in someone else.
Oh right, okay, wow.
And I was right by the door, and I didn't know what to do. So I was sort of sitting with my pants down. Everyone was
of your willy.
Yeah, everyone was leaving.
Fucking hell. To be honest, I wasn't expecting that. So fair play. That's something. Are you okay with this one going up on YouTube? Is that fine?
Oh, hold on. No. Jesus Christ, what's wrong with me? The worst end to a party I've ever seen, someone died. There you go. Yeah, we went. Yeah, I remember this. We went on a night out. We met a man. I had no idea who he was, but he bought us all kebabs, and then he bought a bottle of absinthe, and he shotted it. In this, we went to like a stoner's house, and then they have those like old couches, and you all sat on the couch, and you can't move because you're too high. And the guy just drank an entire bottle of absinthe in front of us, and then he started throwing all the furniture around the room. And he broke all the furniture, and then he passed out on the floor. And I was like, "Okay, great." And then I woke up. He was dead. So that's the worst end to a party I've ever seen. But I mean, petals, yeah, fair fucks, man. Fair fucks. What do you want me to say?
I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, you literally asked me a question. I just answered it.
I don't think I said worst end to a party, actually.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
I don't think that was my question. I can't remember what word I used, because I don't think I've posited being drowned in petals as the worst end to a party. I think I probably said weirdest.
Weirdest.
I
am really sorry. I do apologise to everybody. You have to be careful sometimes with me, because
I've got a real
cheery demeanour, but
of stuff there, haven't you?
Yeah,
memories.
I've had a really story. I've had lots gone off.
I was going to say that the weirdest end to a party that I've ever had, I was at one at Englefield Green in near Egham, and there was a lot of ketamine going around, and then there was a power outage, and everyone had to rack up their lines with by candlelight. This guy with big hair leaned over to snort his line of ket, and his hair caught fire, and then somebody surfed down the stairs on a big mirror, and then I don't remember anything else. So I don't actually remember if the party ended there, but that's certainly when my recollection of the party ended.
That's a good party story.
Yeah, I thought we needed to.
Sorry, I should have done one like that.
Drag us back from that particular brink. Al Jazzers says, "Dark turn here." Ed Goliath Frog agrees, very dark. Al says, miles away
the reviews
from
are in.
Paddington 50p's. Josie says, I now see the danger of bringing up the possibility of a non-binary monarch.
Okay, no.
It spirals from there.
The critics are unanimous. It was not good sidekick chat.
There's not a particularly clear sort of causal chain from non-binary monarchs. I think that they can still be discussed without conjuring the spectre of death. Or summoning, rather, perhaps.
Sent me a Wikipedia link the other day to somebody who was called the Universal Friend. Which I thought was a great name.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who was bringing this up previously? I swear that I've heard this.
I don't know.
I've heard this on a podcast recently, and I think maybe Sean has spoken about the Universal Friend in my presence previously.
Okay. I don't think they were a monarch, but I think they were an early non-binary person, possibly in Victorian.
Yeah. I mean,
times, old-timey times.
Early then, in the grand scheme of things. Sorry. Public Universal Friend.
I'm just trying to remember this name for the next time, because this person comes up a couple of times. Heliogabulus. Is that right?
Hello. Yeah, just trying to find the fucking...
Just trying to think how to lock this into my brain.
Quote, to be honest. Heliogabulus, something like that.
Heliogabulus?
Yes, the Universal Friend is great. PUF, Public Universal Friend, hype. Born Jemima... no need to... Cumberland, Rhode Island. A Quaker, born to Quaker parents, suffering a severe illness in 1776. What a storied year. The Friend... I love that. The Friend claimed to have died.
Isn't that something to aspire to be?
Reanimated as a genderless evangelist. Named the Public Universal Friend, and afterwards shunned both birth name and gendered pronouns. In androgynous clothes, the Friend preached throughout the northeastern United States, attracting many followers. Followers? I'm very sorry about that.
Followers. That's like an Ian Lane slip-up.
Yeah, that's Lane-esque. A Lanian proclamation. Attracting many followers who became the Society of Universal Friends. The public universal Friends theology was broadly similar to that of most Quakers. The Friends stressed free will, opposed slavery, and supported sexual abstinence. The most committed members of the Society of Universal Friends were a group of unmarried women who took leading roles in their households and community. In the 1790s, members of the Society acquired land in western New York, where they formed the Township of Jerusalem near Penn Yan, New York. The Society of Universal Friends ceased to exist by the 1860s. Many writers have portrayed the Friend as a woman, and either a manipulative fraudster or a pioneer for women's rights, while others have viewed the preacher as transgender or non-binary and a figure in trans history.
Quite a lot to play for there, isn't there?
There is.
You're a manipulative fraudster or a pioneer for women's rights.
It's a broad spectrum, but
it is. Yeah. I think that's nice.
That is,
that's cool.
You know, whatever you think about the universal friend, the public universal friend as a name, a concept, an idea, is absolutely tremendous.
It's something to name your kids.
Yes, and I hope that you will.
Public universal friend Nicoresti.
Kaufman Nicoresti.
Kaufman, yeah.
Josie says, listen to the song Heliogabalus by Momus on a loop and you'll remember them easily.
Okay, fair dues. We spoke about Momus before, actually.
Did you?
Me and Josie recently. Yeah, we have had a chat. Yeah, I like Momus. Yeah.
I'm not familiar with Momus. What's
I've shown you one of his songs before. Is one about a cat that I really like. It's about it's a story of a cat's relationship with a woman from the perspective of a cat. And it's quite weird. I think there's a bit in it where he's like he really wants to kind of, it seems a bit sexual. It's like the cat really wants to actually be sexually involved with the woman, but she just sees the cat as a little cat.
On that subject, we watched the back end of B movie earlier on today.
Oh yes. The best end.
It's bollocks.
B movie?
Yeah. Why were there so many... Well, okay, I'll rephrase that. Why were there 3 films about insects, all purely about sort of like the merits of work and collective labour?
Bugs Life, Ants, and B movie?
You know, in B movie, all the... I'm not going to go all fully automated luxury communism on you here, but the bees stop working because they don't need to, and then they all get really depressed. Or they don't get depressed. They get kind of listless. And then Jerry Seinfeld, B, who is also, in a relationship with a human woman and replacing her boyfriend, realizes that actually flowers aren't being pollinated anymore, and you need to keep working. We've got to keep working. That was also kind of the message of Ants, I think, to an extent. Individualism
I think Ants was
much
about
maligned
the
in Ants.
plight of the individual against communism, wasn't it? I don't know. That felt much more like you have a regimented system where all ants do as they're told, and you've got this one plucky ant.
You're right. Individualism was championed in Ants and condemned in Ants by the Kevin Spacey. No, Kevin Spacey was the grasshopper in Bugs Life. Okay, I'm getting confused.
Which is the ultimate movie. It's the best of all of these.
Yes,
because Bugs Life was more, it's your classic sort of hero's journey, but also it's about a plucky group of friends who perceive a wrong in society and wish to right it through revolution, I think. Is that right?
I think...
Because aren't the cockroaches or whatever they are, the locusts, they're like the overlords.
There is slightly more kind of revolutionary fervour in A Bug's Life, but there is still a monarchy, which is
I don't really remember what happens. There's some nasty bugs move in.
Yes, there's grasshoppers. There's grasshoppers. Kevin Spacey grasshopper
Grasshoppers.
demands tribute from the bugs, from the ants, and whoever the main ant is in that. I can't remember who voices the ant. Gets sent away and then
to resistance.
makes friends with some circus bugs.
Caterpillar.
And comes sort of German caterpillar, who is, I think there's a degree of fat shaming there as well.
I mean, yeah. What was it, like the late 90s, early 2000s?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
So we've got some comments. We've got a joke from Pissing Myself Funny Bear, which I think is a good joke, and I will read out and note my appreciation for it. Sadly, the public universal friend has now been replaced by the Private Friend Initiative, PFI. I think when I was slightly more canned up, beard up during my Thursday night stream, I did spend a fair bit of time possibly talking about PFI schools and the contractual vagaries there. So that is probably potentially a callback from that, or also just
a joke in its own right.
A joke in its own right, and I apologise for implying any connection whatsoever. Ed says Bugs Life is 3 amigos, same plot. They hire the travelling circus to defend them from the grasshoppers. Josie says Kevin Spacey grasshoppervert. Main bug is Dave Foley from Kids in the Hall.
Oh, got a good vehicle for him.
Very good. Very, very good. I'm not familiar with him.
Oh yeah, he looks like that ant. I think he's putting a face to kind of play to it though, isn't he?
Voice the main character Flick in A Bug's Life. And Flick. Terry, who can forget Terry in Monsters University.
Oh wow. Okay, well that's pretty good actually. That's 2 pretty iconic roles side by side.
Yeah. Now, I've got a rather big question for you. Do you think we can make it through? There's a lot of nominees here. There's a lot of nominees, a lot of categories. It's 7:25.
Yeah.
And we're only on Best Crown.
I was going to go to a talk about octopuses at 7:30.
Okay, well, shall we just quickly...
Octopi.
Octopode, I believe that... I believe
Is it?
QI would...
Fuck, this is the kind of stuff I could be learning.
I remember from an episode of QI the plummy, self-satisfied voice of Stephen Fry informing me that it is actually Octopode. Or some old crap like that.
Actually, my education tells me you were wrong.
Yes. So shall we just have a look at the Best Crown, have a brief discussion of that, and and then call it quits for tonight? So,
yeah, well, I should see if I can still get tickets for it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, well, you've got 4 mins, so if you want to bring up a browser window whilst we're at it, and
yeah, I'd have to move some money around as well. I was just going to check if it was free or not.
Right. Okay. The Best Crown coin, Monnaie de Paris. Paris Treasures, City of Lights, Eiffel Tower, or Tour Eiffel, I believe. Sorry.
That's not the one I had pinned.
Is it not? Well, Numismatic News is saying that is the guy.
Hold on, let me have a quick look.
Okay.
Oh, okay. It's kind of cool. Again, I think coloration is kind of cheating.
Yeah, and
we don't know what a crown coin is. So.
No, we don't. We don't. The Paris Treasures City of Lights Eiffel Tower coin from the Monnaie de Paris lit up the ballot, winning by a large margin, even with a terrific group of competitors. Let's go back to those competitors quickly. There was The Earth and Beyond, The Sun, Australia, 200th anniversary of the birth of Her Majesty Queen Victoria, Canada. Cook Islands, Chang'e Space Panda. Cyprus, 30th anniversary of the founding of the University of Cyprus. The France one was the City of Lights, Eiffel Tower. Hungary, 2000 Forint National Memorial Sites of Hungary. Japan, Olympic Games, Tokyo 2020 Judo. Now that's got to be pretty good, because obviously that's commemorating an Olympic Games that never took place, or certainly hasn't yet taken place. Lithuania.
The lost coins.
Yeah, Lithuanian castles and manors, which I would like to have a look at. And Mongolia, 500 Tugrug Silver Wildlife Protection Gobi Bear. So that's a 500 Tugrug, whereas we were earlier looking at a 1,000. I'd imagine that coin probably is also as good as the 1,000. And the $1 50th anniversary of Apollo 11 coin is nominated, but thankfully does not win, which is good. There it is, in the Hall of Bad Money.
Shame on you.
Yeah. Well, I need to piss again, which is the the problem with having a couple of nice drinks with lovely friends. So shall we call it a day?
Yeah, well, whatever. I mean, sales have now. I can't get a ticket for the Octopus show, so.
Well, I reckon we call it a day here. We put a pin in this.
Yeah.
We note that we are we've just finished the Best Crown, so tantalising prospect next week of going on to the best circulating coin. I ask you, do you have anything further to promote before we close out for tonight?
Oh, I'm doing do you know what? I'm doing a fundraiser for Square Hole. So the Red Deer pub in Sheffield has sadly been forced to close, and it is where many of us in the north had our first ever gigs. It's certainly where I had my first ever gig. The Square Hole, run by Rich Milner, is one of the most supportive gigs ever, and very sadly has been sort of killed by virus. And there is a fundraiser happening on the 13th of March, in which Sam and Tom of Bad Coin fame will be in attendance. I'm sure if you look it up, you can find links. I genuinely don't know anything more about it, but there'll be musicians and comedy and shit like that, and it'll be good fun. And
sounds wonderful.
Sometimes
very sad to hear about the bad thing that happened at the start of that, but very happy to hear about the good event that has come out of it in order to try and support the good stuff persevering after the bad event. Just
Thanks.
Quickly before we close out, just heading over to the breaking news current currency, I've been informed that Winston Marshall, the banjo player for Mumford & Sons, has gone on the run after he shot laser pens into the eyes of drivers from a pedestrian walkway over a dual carriageway. He's got a bit of a grit in his eye, though, and as a result has crashed his car over through a barrier and has plummeted into a ravine and exploded. This is all coming from alleged eyewitness reports.
He himself has exploded.
He has exploded. He had obviously had the bit of grit in his eye from which was sort of jagged up by a car, which had swerved as a result of him shining a laser pen into the eye of the driver. And then, whilst he was going on the run to escape the police as a result of his activities, he only had one eye at that time, or one active working eye. And then he got a bit tired, so he went to do that and sort of try and wipe the sleep out of his remaining active eye, and completely lost sight of the road and plummeted into a ravine. So that's the breaking news. All that remains to be said with that. The lack of F's in the chat is speaking volumes, says Pissing Myself Funny Bear. Not a great deal of respect for the sadly departed Winston Marshall from Mumford and Sons. The banjo will go unplugged.
He should have turned himself in.
He should have turned himself in, but you know, that's what happens with the rich and famous. Their sense of proportion, their sense of right and wrong, their ethics, their morals completely go out of the window. So all that remains to be said is thank you very much to all of you who have tuned in, and all of you who did tune in and then tuned out due to boredom or having other things to do. A big thanks. We will be back next Sunday, I believe, with more of the same, returning to the Coin of the Year award nominees with the tantalising prospect of the best circulating coin, which I think plays into both of our sort of fields of interest as far as coins are concerned, because we want them to be looking good and in use. So that is
a perfect storm.
That is very exciting. And we've got an F to pay respect to Winston Marshall from Awful Tony, which is fair enough, I suppose. Somebody has to pay respect to the dearly departed Winston Marshall from Mumford and Sons. Thank you very much, guys, and we will see you next week. Goodbye.